Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Speaker Brains with the most unprofessional music critics on the internet, Travis, Zach, and Josh.
Roger Waters here. You're listening to Speaker Brains.
Hey, it's Roger Waters and David Gilmour.
No, fuck that guy.
No,
Don't like
fuck
him
you,
anymore.
Roger. You bastard.
Me and my concept albums, I'm gonna keep them all to myself.
You keep your concept albums.
Oh, go play your guitar, you pussy.
I play guitar better than you.
Shit, you're right.
Alright, y'all. Welcome to Speaker Brains. And today is a very special episode of Speaker Brains. There is no Zach or Josh on this episode. Today
Blasphemy.
Yeah, blasphemy. Nobody wants to watch it. No, go ahead. This is our buddy Frank. I'm gonna fuck your last name up, dude, so you might wanna
Everyone does.
Del Vecchio.
Close. Del Vecchio.
Del Vecchio, okay.
I've heard Del Vecchio before, so.
Oh,
I've heard
shit.
Del Vecchio. All kinds of shit.
Hell
Del
no.
Vegetable.
That's a pretty cool name, though.
Yeah. Italian.
Yeah, it's fucking cooler than Jones.
Nah, dude, Jones is pretty badass.
Nah, Jones is like older than dirt, man.
Travis and Jones equal, that's an action hero name.
That's a what?
An action hero name.
How's it an action hero name?
Because it's just two badass names put together. Travis reminds me of Travis Ryan from Cattle Decapitation, and you know he's badass.
Hell yeah.
And Jones, Indiana Jones. So,
Okay. I always fuck with my wife, and I tell her that if we have a bunch of kids, we're gonna name them all like Davy Jones and Indiana Jones and...
dude, do it.
She keeps telling me no, but eventually it's gonna happen.
So when they finally go to school, it'll be Davy Jones' locker.
Hell yes. Hell yes. That would be so badass.
Yeah, it would be. Anyway, what are we talking about?
Yeah, today is the Pink Floyd Retrospective. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. It's just that, you know, I've actually written episodes of my show talking about like the 15, you know, basically my top albums of theirs, and I filmed it and started editing, and then I just said, you know what? I don't want to do this.
I can't really pick like top albums because I feel like all of them are good in their own right. It depends on what kind of mood you're in and what you want to hear.
Yeah, definitely.
Like that's how great they are. They're like all their albums are good on some level.
And that is definitely the case. Only there's a good 3 that I don't really like too much.
Like I tried to like make a list of like which ones are my favorite, but it came to the case where it's like I don't really know like how I can judge one after the other. I love them all.
Yeah, true that. So, alright, if you guys are hearing this new wave kind of bell, it's like we got some Tibetan bowl action going on.
The division bell.
yeah, we're just gonna call that the division bell. My mic is, I don't know, it's just coming through the speakers, and I guess it's too close to the computer, but it only goes so far because it's hooked up through a USB cable. And so you're just gonna have to bear with us, people. God.
For whom the bell tolls.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, quick side note, Hardwired to Self-Destruct, fucking awesome. Awesome song, man.
That's a rockin' ass song, dude. Like,
dude, so
shit.
good.
I turned it on the day they posted it on Facebook, and I was like, shit. It was like kind of like their old school thrashiness.
It hits you right off the bat. They're cursing again. It's fucking sweet.
Yeah, dude. Like, fuck yeah. It reminded me of Puppets era, or maybe a little bit of Justice for All and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. And like I said, the name sort of sounded like something Megadeth would do. Hardwired.
Yeah, it really does.
To self-destruct.
It really does sound like a Megadeth
sells,
title.
but who's buying? Killing is my business, and business is good.
True that, dude. True that. That is definitely...
Dave Mustaine's like, you sons of bitches.
Oh, yeah. Alright, so like we normally do, we're going to go around and basically talk about how we got into Pink Floyd and where our origins with this band lie. So go ahead, Frank.
My origins with Pink Floyd, there's sort of two stories I could tell. The first one is when most people say, like, what's the first Pink Floyd song you ever heard? Most people go like Money or Another Brick in the Wall Part 2 or maybe Wish You Were Here. But for me, I used to go to sleep with the radio on. I used to have an iHome, which would go on like our local rock station. And I'm sure I've heard a lot of Pink Floyd before it, but the first song that I heard where I knew I was listening to Pink Floyd was Welcome to the Machine. And that song just, it made me like feel so, like I didn't know how to feel when I was listening to it because it's like creepy but also epic at the same time.
Hell yeah.
It's calming because it made me like fall asleep pretty easily. And another thing, my origins with this band is that my uncle, this is like his favorite band, so sort of like grew up around the Pink Floyd sound. But I only recently started to get into them more because I used to just listen to like the hits, and I really started to pay attention to what the songs were actually talking about. I'm like, these guys are actually pretty sweet.
Hell yeah. So I guess how I kind of got into them was when I was, God, dude, I was like 8. My mom, when we were young, she used to sit us down and like just play music for us and tell us about it. Like she did it with Nirvana and Blind Melon, and Pink Floyd is one that I remember because she played Brain Damage and Money. And she was telling me about, oh, it's so cool because they're using cash registers and money sounds in the music. And I was like 8 years old and didn't really care, but thought it was kind of cool. But then as I, became like a teenager, all I would ever hear were the hits on the radio. And we had this little used CD store down the road that we used to go to all the time, and they had a nice stack of Pink Floyd albums that I had picked up. I grabbed The Wall, Obscured by Colors, More, Momentary Lapse of Reason, and The Final Cut. And I was, that's about, also Adam Heartmother. And
oh my god, such a good album.
Hell yeah, dude. And so I started listening to those heavily, and then I'd be like, oh shit, this is a song I know from the radio, and this is one from the radio, and then I started smoking a lot of weed. And really,
as you do.
Yeah.
When you listen to the Pink Floyd. I don't, but I'm not cool like that.
Nah. But, yeah, so I would sit down in my room and smoke weed with my friends and turn that shit on. And one thing we loved to do, because my mom would tell us about how the Wizard of Oz goes with Dark Side.
It does. I don't
really
do
does.
drugs, and I watched it together. It's creepy. I don't think it was intentional, but I think it's just one of those weird coincidences.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So we was like, well, if it goes with fucking Wizard of Oz, what else can it go with? So we had it on
Star Wars Episode 7, I've heard.
Yeah. So we had we turned on Cartoon Network and got high as shit and just sat there and listened to The Wall over Dexter's Laboratory, and that shit went together well. Like, it just looked amazing.
Like a lot of the concepts of The Wall. Try The Wall and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I get the feeling that would work.
Yeah, hell yeah. It definitely would.
That would be fucking awesome.
And so, I guess we'll go into their first album,
Piper
at the Gates of Dawn, man. This fucking album, dude, blew me away.
Yeah, right off the bat when I heard it, it was one of my favorites of Floyd, right off the bat.
Yeah, because when I first started getting into Pink Floyd, I had no idea about Syd Barrett.
Yeah, me neither. It was my uncle who told me about him.
And so
I'm like, shit, there's one more person who's not Roger Waters or David Gilmour. There was another frontrunner.
Seriously.
And his stuff really is special. It really is different from all the other Pink Floyd stuff. He was really in his own realm of songwriting.
Yeah, and to me, it's, like you said, it's special. It's very, it's not childish. It's just very innocent and dark at the same time.
He's just detached from the real world. He was just inside his head the whole time, and it made some great music. At first, I wasn't really interested because I thought, oh, it's just going to sound like Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. It's just going to be like them trying to be the Beatles. But then when I actually sat down and listened to it, it is very different. It really is its own animal.
It really is. It's wild. It's free. It's damn.
The first song right off the bat, you just feel like you're spiraling down into like some schizophrenic LSD-induced nightmare.
Yeah, as soon as it begins, all the way through the end, like it never stops. It never slows down.
Especially like that guitar was like. I just feel like I'm swirling down the spiral like I was Tool or something.
Seriously, dude. Fuck, dude. Astronomy Domain. And I love Lucifer Sam.
Lucifer Sam is so good. Here's how I describe the sound of this music. It's a bunch of people on LSD. It's like if the Beatles got really freaking high and tried to do the James Bond theme mixed with some surf in there.
Seriously, that's a fantastic way to put it. Like, dude, this album makes me want to join the Manson family and, like, dance naked in the woods.
I won't go that far, but it definitely makes me want to live in the 60s.
Seriously.
Be a flower child.
Hell yeah.
The good old days of the 60s when Roger Waters looked like Austin Powers.
Hell yeah. And that's another thing, dude. When you look at old pictures of these guys, like, none of those dudes looked good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude. Roger Waters aged well. Like, he looks much better now than he ever did back then.
Oh.
He had like a horse face back then. In the 60s, he was rocking the Spock haircut.
Seriously.
I love him and hate him at the same time because there's things he does, but I want to hug this guy, little Raji.
Oh my god, dude. A Scarecrow, man. God, I love Scarecrow.
Scarecrow.
Bike is amazing.
Bike is the craziest thing I've ever heard. Some of the lyrics, I'm just shaking my head like, what? Like
I've got a bike, you could ride it if you like. It's got
a little gerbil named Gerald.
Yeah.
I just sit my head like, what are you talking about?
Oh
I call him Gerald. He's getting kind of old. It's like, okay, I can't argue with that.
But he's a good mouse. Jesus Christ.
He's just out of any realm of reality. I want to see like an Alice in Wonderland trip into his mind. See what that's like.
Oh my god, dude, for real. Like,
somebody write a book about that.
If you like his stuff on here, definitely, I highly recommend his 2 solo albums.
I've been meaning to check those out. I still need to check out the last of Roger Waters' solo career, and I want to check out David Gilmour's, and Syd Barrett. I definitely keep checking out.
I haven't checked out any Waters or Gilmour solo stuff.
The Waters stuff so far is actually really good. Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking is one of my favorite albums of all time. Radio Chaos it's very different. It has like some weird 80s pop sound that at first I thought was going to suck. But then when you actually listen to it, it kind of fits the style. I haven't heard him used to death yet, or his opera that he wrote about the French Revolution.
Oh.
But yeah, he wrote a full-on opera.
I bet it's awesome and like self-indulgent. And
Oh yeah. From what I've heard.
Awesome. I don't mind self-indulgence in music because I'm like, you know what? freaking do it, man. Do something big. Do something wild and crazy. People won't get it, but you fucking put your all into that shit, bro.
Here's the thing about Roger Waters. Like, the points he makes when he is just being interviewed, it kind of comes off like he doesn't know what he's talking about, or he's just being a dick. But then when he puts it to music, it starts to all make sense. I don't know what it is, but when he puts it in music, his point, that's how he should make his arguments, through music. And that's why I hear he's working on another solo album, and he explained what the concept is. And I'm like, yeah, it's your typical Roger Waters bullshit, but I can't wait. It's so good.
True that.
I hope he does not hear this, because he'll be like, you son of a bitch, Frank.
You're bleeding also.
You're a bloody wanker.
You bleeding wank.
Great name for a song, Bloody Wank. Let's do it.
Bloody wank.
Band name, Bloody Wank.
Bloody wank. Should it be black metal?
There you go. Bloody Wank.
Be like old Danny Filth. This next song is entitled Bloody Wank. But yeah, dude, like this album, man, is one that I almost think it's a little overlooked.
It is. Like, I feel like it should get more attention than it does. Because for a first-time album, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's... I straight up think it's a masterpiece.
It really is in its own weird little way.
Because, like, to me, it's flawless. There's no... I don't get bored with it. I don't want to skip anything, and it makes me feel like I'm on LSD, which all good psychedelic songs should.
Yeah, like, I don't need drugs. The music is the drugs for me, and that's why I friggin' love Pink Floyd, because it makes me think, it makes me do all this other stuff that, like, I feel more high without drugs listening to this than with.
Seriously. But
and that's how you know they got talent. Because some other LSD bands, you know, it sounds good when you're on the drugs, but then when you actually hear it afterwards, it's like, what are you talking about? Like some of their early live performances.
Like the crazy thing about this, hold on 2 seconds.
Alright.
Yeah, the crazy thing about this is his 2 solo albums, The Madcap Laughs and Barrett, they sound different. Like, you know it, you can tell it's him, but they don't have that crazy spaciness of this Pink Floyd album, but they...
It's when you realize that, like, the other band members, like, actually matter in the overall sound.
Yeah.
Like, that they're all contributing something, because there's a similar feeling I get when I'm listening to... I know, I don't shut up about this band, but when I'm listening to the Cranberries, and I fall in love with Dolores' voice, and I'm like, oh, she has a solo career, I go listen to that, and it's just as good, but it feels like there's something missing, and that's when I realized, like, oh, shit, there's a whole other band here. Like, she sort of stole the show for me at first, but now I appreciate all of them.
True that. But what's crazy...
the drums on the Cranberries albums are amazing.
Yeah, they are. But what's crazy is, like, David Gilmour and Syd Barrett, I don't know if they're on both of these albums or if they're on just one, but they had to come in the studio and kind of, like, save him because he could not... His mind was so gone at this point that he could not fucking handle it.
Yeah, I think David Gilmour was brought in more later on when Syd Barrett was starting to fall apart, and they're like, shit.
Oh, shit. So let's just...
So if I get disconnected again, now you know what to do. Just go into Messenger, click the number, there you go.
Alright, cool. Alright, so...
We were talking about how David Gilmour came in to replace Syd because he was falling apart.
Yeah.
Schizophrenia, all that stuff.
But yeah, I highly recommend these albums for anyone that loves the Syd Barrett stuff. And you really, there's sadly not a lot of it out there, man.
Not enough magic to go around.
True that. So I guess, should we just move on to the next
Saucer Full of Secrets?
Yeah, Saucer Full of Secrets. Dude.
Not as great as Piper, in my opinion, but still pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's like... It's not as good as Piper, but I love the shit out of this album.
Set the Controls to the Heart of the Sun. Great song. Corporal Clegg
Yeah,
is probably the best song off of it.
Like, and then Barrett's final Floyd song, Jug Band Blues, is like one of the greatest and almost saddest things from this band. Because you can look at the lyrics like he's saying, you know, hey, it might be me out of the band, or at the same time, he's not there in his head and he kind of knows it and he's addressing it.
Subconsciously letting us know that I'm going.
Yeah, it's very somber, but god damn, that song fucking goes
bittersweet.
off. Yeah, exactly. And then the songs are much longer and they kind of drone. They really get drony and
they meld together, and that's another thing that as a kid really like blew my mind, is that all the songs connect once they get to that point of like Dark Side and The Wall. Is that I find that awesome because it's like one long song.
Yeah, and it definitely feels that way. And what's crazy is this album, it still fucks with the psychedelic stuff, while at the same time you can see that the psychedelic stuff is going out the door, and you're getting a little more of that
progressive rock.
Yeah, exactly. And it's only came out like a year later.
Yeah, dude, back then, like when Black Sabbath was releasing out, like the first and second album both came out in 1970. They just pumped out albums back then.
Hell yeah, dude. And it was a good thing, and then it can also be a bad thing. Because if you wind up with like, you know, an album a year, man, you can fatigue yourself from a band.
Yeah, you run the well dry pretty quickly.
Hell yeah. But shit, dude. Like the first time I bought this album, it was like 2007, man. Because I was pretty slow at picking up all my Pink Floyd, and so it was almost 10 years ago, and I played it out, dude.
All these albums, it's like one listen isn't good enough. You just gotta keep coming back.
Yeah, seriously.
Even Ummagumma, like you gotta go back to it at least once.
Man, nah, oh, dude, I love Ummagumma.
We'll get to that.
Hell yeah, we'll definitely get to that one. But man, I love Remember a Day and the title track and Seesaw. Man, Seesaw is like relaxing.
Yeah, Seesaw's pretty good.
Man, it just trips me out, dude, how fucking... It's crazy, dude, because, like, there's no sophomore slump here, man. It's...
Exactly, they're just at top of their game. Still going strong.
Fucking amazing, dude.
And then after that, they did the soundtrack to the movie More.
Yeah, that album, I love the shit out of that.
Was Sid on that one? Was that one a Sid album or no?
Nah, no more Sid after this. After Saucer Full of Secrets, Jug Band Blues is his final Pink Floyd track. So now...
More is one of those albums where it's like I don't really like remember listening. Like I listened to it, but I don't really remember most of the songs, because the one song that stuck with me that I think is the best song on the album is the Nile song.
Yeah, Nile
that song was like
awesome.
Fucking metal for Pink Floyd.
Yeah,
I was like
dude.
finding myself headbanging to that.
It's like, it's heavy metal before heavy metal, man.
Yeah, it's like they were... when did this album come out?
69.
So Black Sabbath wasn't around yet. I was about to make a joke where they were like looking at Black Sabbath like, oh, these guys are hard rock and let's try to do that. But no, they came before, so Pink Floyd are the real founders of heavy metal.
Pretty much. In a weird way, man. A band that is completely known for some other crazy shit can easily be considered.
Deep down, if you dig down, you'll find they invented other stuff.
Hell yeah. But dude, More is pretty awesome. For like a soundtrack to some movie.
Oh yeah, dude, they're like great composers. If I was to make a movie and I could get Pink Floyd to like write a whole soundtrack, dude, it'd be awesome.
And because it's crazy, because it's easily just another. You can take soundtrack from the film off of the title here, and it's just another Pink Floyd album, dude. Cause,
exactly. It's just they killed two birds with one stone.
Seriously, like they just wrote all these fairly rockin' tracks, some fairly chill tracks. Like it sounds nothing like their previous two albums. It's really weird.
Well, I'm pretty sure the album will live longer than the movie, because I've never even heard the movie before I heard the album.
Seriously.
I'm like, what the fuck is more?
For real, dude. Like, I've never fucking heard of it. Like, I was like, when I first bought this, I was like, this is a soundtrack to some shit?
I think they did a soundtrack to another movie, too, but I could be wrong.
Yeah,
I don't think it's on an album.
They did the album Obscured by Clouds is a soundtrack to a movie. And I think they did another movie from the guy who directed More, but it might not have been released or some shit like that. I might be totally wrong.
Oh yeah, and then there's that other movie, The Wall. They also did the soundtrack to that.
Yeah, man.
But nobody remembers that.
I've never heard of the Wall movie.
Yeah, dude.
I mean,
fuck?
What the shit?
Like you gotta be some fucking film buff to watch The Wall.
I mean, really?
Like More, now that's the classic.
Yeah, More is the fucking classic, dude.
I watch it on loop. Can't get enough of it. It's the next Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
Before Star Wars came out.
Oh yeah. But yeah, man, this album is, it's one that any like diehard fan should check out, but it's one that, like you said, I kind of forget about it when I'm finished. Like you said, Niall's song is one I remember a lot.
That's the memorable one. The other ones are good while you're listening to it, but it's not really going to stick with you like Niall's song.
Yeah, and Ibizabar, or however the fuck you pronounce that.
Zanzibar, Tenacious D.
I'll take it from Zanzibar.
Zanzibar.
Hell yeah. So, after More,
Gumma.
we have, man, go ahead and give me some thoughts on
the weirdest album. I have it on vinyl just because in my head that's the only way you should listen to it.
Oh man, I'd love to have it on vinyl.
This is, in my opinion, the worst Pink Floyd album. Just because of what it. Just because of it's not. The first half is really good. The live album I love, and the second half I understand why some people find it hard to get through.
Oh yeah.
But I also respect this album because it's like they didn't care. They just lost Syd Barrett. They had no idea what they were doing. So they just said, fuck it, let's just put out some sounds, we'll all write our own songs. And that's kind of interesting how each member wrote their own songs.
Yeah, and what's really cool about that is how when you really listen to this album and then their other albums, this album really shows you what each member brings to the table.
Yeah, that they each are weird and psychotic in their own way.
Yeah, because but
one is slightly different than the other. Roger Waters, I think, proved to be the most fucking craziest when he puts a bunch of furry animals in one room. What fucking, mindset was he like, I'm gonna put a bunch of furry animals in one room. Let's see what happens, alright?
Dude, it's crazy, man, because when you get, to me, I think, I love everything on this album, but the music that touches me the most is definitely Gilmour's part with the Narrow Way, parts 1 through 3. God, dude, his guitar work, man, is so fucking good on that song.
It's kind of like a hint of what's going to come many years later when he takes over the band, because his section was really good. Like I said, the live album is my favorite part because I think it's the best recording of Set the Controls to the Heart of the Sun. Careful with that Axe Eugene blows my mind every time I hear it. It scared the fuck out of me when I first heard it because I'm sitting in the dark with my vinyl and all of a sudden this bitch just starts screaming and I'm just like, what is going on? It scared me to death.
Yeah, dude.
And then it blew my mind when everything started getting really intense because it starts off so slow and you're listening closely because it's quiet and then you just get blasted.
True that. But then
I love that song.
I think I like Waters' shit on here too. Like Grantchester Meadows is cool, But yeah, several species of small furry animals gathered together in a cave and grooving with a pict. Bit of a mouthful for a song track title, man. Like
that should have been the album name.
Seriously, but I think to me, I hate to say it because I love this track, but I'm also glad they put it at the end. Is Mason's stuff, the Grand Vizier's Garden Party? That shit is cool, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, the album's over.
If you wonder, like, who did the track with nothing but drums, gee, I wonder who it was.
Seriously, dude. Because it's like, it's cool drum shit, but then it's like, yeah, well, I mean...
Drum solo!
we'll put Paul at the end.
Sisyphus is alright.
Yeah.
Sisyphus, like, takes up half of the other album because it has, like, 4 parts.
Yeah, because that's like 13-minute track right there.
I just like the name Sisyphus.
Yeah,
it's just fun to say. It's like early Tool stuff right there.
Yeah, true that.
That should be the new album title, Sisyphus.
But yeah, this is like one of the few Pink Floyd albums that I don't recommend driving around listening to.
Yeah, you don't want to like be driving down the street and then just hearing fuck. That's sad.
Seriously.
I want to see I just want to see visuals put to this because I'm imagining this that would be awesome. Just seeing this trippy stuff with visuals. But that's the sound that sticks with me the most. That I'm just like, this is awesome. This stuff.
Yeah, dude. Like, but what's cool
it just
though?
Keeps repeating. It creeps you out, and that's why I respect it because it makes you feel something. It makes you feel unease. And that's kind of what I like in music. There's a lot of music out there that makes you feel good, makes you feel sad. There's not much music out there that really scares you.
Yeah.
Or just makes you uneasy unless it's like a soundtrack.
And this is definitely one. This is one that I listened to it stoned once, and I was like...
Oh, so that's what I'm missing.
Yeah, I was stoned as shit, and I had it on, and I was like... Because I'll be like, alright, I want to hear some weird shit when I'm stoned. I want to see how that makes me feel when I'm stoned. And man, all I can say is, like, don't close your eyes. When you're stoned and you're listening to Uma Gooma, don't close your eyes. You're gonna... I don't know, man. It freaked me out. I was just like...
This is like the soundtrack to some David Lynch film.
Mm-hmm. Hell yes.
So, and that's the thing. Although I think it's the worst, here's what's so good about Pink Floyd is that I still feel like it has re-listenable value. Because, like I said, the live album stuff is good. But also, it's just like that blend of, like, it's so weird that you have to go back and look at it. Kind of like the 2003 Hulk movie where, like, you watch it once and you're like, what the fuck am I watching? And you're like, wait, let me go back and, like, see this again.
Yeah, I think the coolest thing, whose idea was it to get Ang Lee to make a Hulk movie? I mean,
I actually think it's underrated. I think
it really is. It really
good is. Movie.
Because I love the way he filmed it, man. Because you got it's like comic panels up on the screen and shit.
That's the only thing I actually didn't like about it.
Really?
What I liked about it is that, one, it took it seriously. I know a lot of people are like, oh, Hulk just smashes. But no, I really like how it was dark for the time. It really was a dark movie. Yeah, there are silly things, but what it was trying to do, aside from drunk Nick Nolte...
Yeah, it was better than some of the other comic movies coming out at that point. Like fucking Daredevil and fucking Blade 3 was coming up. I mean, like, it was a beast of its own. I dug it, but it's one that...
It's a Amagama movie right there.
Yeah, definitely. But you know what's crazy?
That's gonna be my term. This is an Amagama movie.
What's real crazy about this album is, Yes did sort of the same thing on their album Fragile around this time. Like, have you ever listened to any Yes?
No.
Dude.
I know, you wanted me to say yes.
Dude. If you like prog, man, from the 70s, definitely check out some Yes. Because...
I will.
They are fucking majestic, dude. Like, I highly recommend Closer to the Edge and Topographic Oceans. Like, those are some majestic freaking albums.
In terms of, like, the prog I listen to, of course, Pink Floyd, Tool, Rush. Rush is progressive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rush, listen to them. And I've been meaning to check out some Dream Theater because you recommended them.
Yeah, dude, Dream Theater's pretty good. Like, the weird thing about Dream Theater is, like, some of their albums are really, really good, and some of their albums are just weak. Like, to me, they didn't get fantastic until they did Metropolis Part 2. Like, that's one of the best albums they've ever made, and it's like they'll do an album that's proggy as hell, and then they'll do an album that's just a little more metal, and which is cool, but like, I want the prog shit, because, you know, there's so much metal out there.
Like, give us something different.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I respect Gumma Gumma, because it is different. There's nothing like it. And there's a reason why they call it progressive. It's because you start out and you watch this band progress. And that's what's so interesting about Pink Floyd, is because there really is a progression. You see, they start off great, they fall from grace when Syd Barrett leaves, and then they're stuck, and they make Gumma Gumma just to, like, hold you over, and then they start to rise again with the next album, which I love.
Yeah, so we'll dive on into that one.
Adam Hart fucking mother.
Dude, like, this is another close favorite right here, man.
Yeah, the fact that the band considers this one of their bad albums, I can't believe that.
I don't know why.
Like, you composed an epic 23-minute... Like, that's a soundtrack right there. John Williams is looking at this track like, shit, dude.
Seriously. Dude, like, if you like those long epic tracks, definitely check out some early Yes. Like, Topographic Oceans is 4 songs that exceed 20 minutes.
Oh, dude.
Dude.
My brother would probably love that. When my brother found out that the Tool album, like, supposedly was going to have, like, over 12-minute songs, he was like, yes.
Yeah, that made me happy until I saw all the conflicting statements.
Of course, it's not. I've come to terms that the new Tool album is probably never going to happen, and they're just going to play with us till we die.
Yeah, and I'm convinced that if it ever does come out, they're going to break up.
Yeah, it's going to be the last one, and it'll probably be bittersweet.
Yeah.
It'll probably be like, oh, some songs were good, but it wasn't as good as 10,000 Days or Lateralis.
Yeah, definitely.
Which, again, I know this is supposed to be special, but I'm having a lot of fun right here. If you ever do a Cranberries retrospective or a Tool retrospective, dude, totally, I can talk about them for hours.
Hell yeah. We'll have to get on a Cranberries one. We've already done a Tool one back in March.
I'll have to listen to that.
Sweet. But yeah, we'll definitely do a Cranberries one. They've only got, like, what, 6 damn albums?
It's a very short list, but there's a lot to talk about with those albums. And you could also go on and talk about her solo career too, because that has a lot to talk about with the 2 albums.
True that.
And this new project that she's working on sounds pretty cool. So.
Because I've only got their first 3.
Oh, you're missing out. The next album after Faithful Departed is Bury the Hatchet. Is so good.
Awesome. Because what's that one? You posted the album cover the other day, and that was a Storm Thorgerson album cover that.
Yeah, that was Bury the Hatchet. And when I look at that, going back to Pink Floyd, I'm like, that's like a Division Bell cover right there.
Yeah, seriously.
That is awesome.
That's another cool thing about the early prog days was like you had this group of artists like that did all the art for it. You had Thorgerson on most of the Pink Floyd stuff, and you had Roger Dean on all the Yes stuff, and especially on the Yes album covers, man, you can just stare at them and be like, I want to go there.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want a giant eye looking down on me, but like. Oh, and then who was the guy who like illustrated and animated the wall like that?
Yeah.
Who's that artist's name?
No
because
clue.
He is amazing.
Yeah, that.
What was his name?
God, dude, the animation in that movie is some of the best stuff.
Yeah, we'll have to get to that. I could talk about The Wall for hours, man. Yeah. But speaking of good album covers, when we go back to Gumma, that album cover I'm looking at right now on my vinyl is amazing.
Yeah, dude, all the pictures go all the way inside, and
I just want to go into that portal of pictures.
Yeah, dude, I can see myself jumping through that window and just continuously jumping through the windows, like flying through them.
Yeah. And the woman screaming on Careful with That Axe, Eugene, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, isn't that Roger Waters' girlfriend at the time, or wife? I think that was her.
I have no clue, actually.
I think it says it on the inside of vinyl, like Roger Waters and, wait, I'll open up the vinyl, because I think he did get his girlfriend or wife at the time to, Roger Waters and Jude.
But man, Adam Hartmother, dude, like, to me, there's no weak track.
Oh, definitely not. Like, I thought it was going to be weak when I was listening to the iTunes previews, which is what I do when I don't have enough money to buy it. I'll, like, let me just get a little taste first before I, like, YouTube stream it. But this one I download immediately. Every track, once you actually listen to it, it's, like, it's amazing.
Yeah, because once the once the suite is over, you know, you're like, what else can they do now, man? And you get into If and Summer 68 and Fat Old
Summer
Son.
68 is my favorite song off of that album. I can listen to that.
Man, dude. And like
Summer 68 sounds like one of those songs Tarantino would use in one of his Western movies.
Yeah, dude.
It's awesome. And I like how a lot of these songs use the horns and the orchestra. It's very jazzy.
The horns fucking really make this album. Damn that noise.
Damn you, Division Bell. Not the album. The album I love. But.
And then Adam's Psychedelic Breakfast is amazing.
Alan's Psychedelic Breakfast. Oh my god.
Gotta love that.
Just
title.
a name.
And dude, like, I love how, like, there's all these. You just got field recordings. Like, you hear people walking in gravel and doors opening and shutting, and I swear it sounds like somebody's eating or some shit.
Yeah, he's eating his psychedelic breakfast.
It's so fucking cool, dude.
And he's saying, like, breakfast in Los Angeles.
God, dude, like, that's an amazing album. Like, I don't know why they say this is their worst album, because to me, like...
I don't think they say it's their worst, but I think they say it... Or did they say it was their worst? I think they might have, but they definitely said it was one of their stinkers, and I'm like, you're crazy, because this is... compared to Ummagumma, this is like 10 steps up.
It really is, dude. Like, I love Ummagumma, but this one to me, God, Jesus. Now this one, you can...
Apparently, Ummagumma is a sex term. By the way, I've heard that when they were in college, Ummagumma meant like some kind of sex.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like when they were all in like architecture school or something, they were like, I'm going to go get some Ummagumma.
I'm going to get some Ummagumma.
It definitely does sound like some of that British slang.
It really does. Get me some bleeding Ummagumma. Oh shit!
But that's my Wikipedia research, so it could be wrong.
But I will have to say, this album's like cover is not necessarily it's definitely not their worst album cover. It's their most like questionable one. Like, why are we
just why a cow?
Yeah.
But it also kind of works too.
Yeah,
like
dude,
when you listen to the album, it's like the cow does kind of work actually.
It's like, what the hell are we getting into, man? Like on the back, you got these 3 cows. I swear to God, they're gonna it looks like they're gonna start harmonizing.
Like, that'd be sweet if they actually used cow noises. Maybe it's like a reference, like we're gonna be doing animals one day.
Yeah, it's weird, man. And then you gotta think too. What is it with Roger Waters and animals, man?
He likes putting furry creatures into a little jig. He likes cows. He likes pigs. He likes dogs. He's just an animal guy.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. I mean, not weird, but...
It could be worse. Like, It could be the album cover to Cattle Decapitation's Human Manure, which is essentially the same Adam Hart mother cover, but shitting out human remains.
Yeah, dude, you're totally right about that.
It's the exact same picture.
Only fucking the animals just, like, shitting out...
human remains.
Dude, I love Cattle Decapitation, man. Those guys
to an extent. I like their last 3 albums. The other stuff I gotta get used to. Because at first I hated them because I wasn't used to hearing them. And then when I actually sat down and listened and actually got their message across, I'm like, oh, these guys are actually pretty fucking sweet.
Yeah, like, I dig their message, you know, because it's a very positive message and some really aggressive music.
It's just like teaching a lesson in a very aggressive way, because how else are you going to get the people to listen?
Exactly. Normal little metalhead kids will buy it because the album cover looks cool, but then
yeah, like human shit.
Yeah, man, the cows, he's shitting humans, dude.
Beavis and Butthead just like, oh yeah, cow shitting.
He just shit a human.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So then, after Adam Heartmother, we jump into another album that is... it's a masterpiece in its own way, too, man.
Which one is this one? I'm trying to remember the order.
This is Metal.
Oh my god! Yeah, this one's a masterpiece.
This one... It takes everything that Adam Heartmother did and really it progresses upon that.
Yeah, once again, progressive music. They progress, and this is one of their shining achievements. The first and last song just blow my mind. One of these days sounds like an awesome, like, epic version of the Doctor Who theme.
It damn sure does.
To the point where even in the background you could hear like the keyboard going like wah wah.
Woo, woo, woo.
Like I just see that opening to Doctor Who when it's just like dun-dun-dun-dun, and then you hear that fucking booming voice, the one of these days, and then it just bam, like I would be headbanging if I was at a concert and people start playing this.
Seriously, dude. And then the echoes, the fucking suite on here is mind-blowing.
This song, Echoes, has been known to drive people insane, so...
Like, dude, and it's another crazy thing. The song Echoes goes amazingly well with the last 25 minutes of 2001.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that, too. Well, 2001 sort of goes well with everything.
It really does, dude. Like,
you could also play some 2000... I did a music video for Great Gig in the Sky where I used clips from Interstellar and 2001 when all the colors come at you.
Oh, yeah.
And it works. Also, going back to Cattle Decapitation, they work well with 2001 as well. Monolith of Inhumanity.
Oh, yeah. But dude, man, like, I think the only song on this album to me, is it Seamus?
Seamus. Yeah, that song's a little
with the dog barking
filler. But it's like charming too, because it's like it goes back to those old Syd Barrett days where it's just like I had a dog and I left him outside too long.
Yeah, it's it's really the most unfitting track on here, but it makes it stand out in a fairly good way. But it's
once again going back to one, the animal obsession, and two, just you'll always remember it because it's like that's the song with the dog in it.
Yeah, and it's a cool little blues riff, and then you got this annoying ass fucking barking dog. I'm like, somebody shut this dog up so I can hear the damn song.
But Fearless, though, is catchy as hell. Just that riff.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Hell yeah, dude. And San Tropez, I don't even really remember that one.
Nah, because One of These Days just, like, blows you away. And then what was The Pillow of the Minds?
Yeah, Pillow of the Winds.
Winds.
Like, dude, that's a thing, too, though, like, that makes this album... Because it starts off amazing, but once you get past One of These Days, the other tracks, they're not necessarily...
Until you get to Fearless, because I actually really love Fearless.
Yeah, because, like, it's like, do I want to skip this track? And, it's...
It's like you're really just waiting to get to Echoes, because Echoes is what this album is known for.
Yeah, true that. But it doesn't take away from, the good things about these other songs, but... With them being sandwiched in between two epic-ass tracks, like, it almost disservices. Is that a word?
Yeah, I think so.
It can easily make those middle songs weaker, but it doesn't. It's weird, because I'm not going to say it makes them weaker. Some points could be weaker, especially the dog yelling, but... It's one that, man, it's a good one to listen to high too, man, because especially when you get in the middle tracks, and you can just wind down and just feel it.
Yeah. Like this is where the stereotype of you have to listen to Pink Floyd high comes in.
Like, dude, it is a stereotype, but damn it, I will swear by it, dude. And I'll swear by anything. Like, weed will make a lot
Well,
of
if you
music.
listen to anything high, I'm sure it will be good.
Yeah, it enhances. I don't know what it is, man. You can really tone things out and forget everything and just go with it. Like, that's the cool...
The old saying goes, you don't need weed to enjoy Pink Floyd, but you do need Pink Floyd to enjoy weed.
Yeah, true that. It's kind of like, especially when you get to these long 20-minute tracks, you almost feel like they're structured around a high, because they start off fairly, not bombastic, but they start off really good, and it's like you're just now hitting your joint, and then you get to the middle where everything is chilled out, and that's when your high is really set in, and then toward the end it gets fairly bombastic, and you're like,
well, once you get to echoes, it's time to whip out the acid.
yeah, definitely fucking do the LSD and
spiral out.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, dude, metal's awesome. And that actually is, I hate to say how long it took me to get, because dude, I spent maybe a good 9 years fucking getting all this Pink Floyd, because some bands I'll fucking like get all their shit at one go, and I'll get really tired of it really quick, because like that's all I'm listening to at that point. But some bands it's good to sort of just get one or two, maybe three in a year, and let them really soak in, and then just kind of do it like that. And that's how I did this Pink Floyd. But metal was the last.
And that's why Pink Floyd is so good, because you have those established 3 or 4. You have the Dark Side, Wish You Were Here, and The Wall, and maybe Animals. Or like you start with those 3 and then you work your way down. And you get used to the other sounds, because it is very different from what the older albums are and the future albums are. You get used to it, and then you keep going.
Definitely. Because I bought metal in fucking like 2011. And there was the last one that I bought, with the exception of Endless River, that at the time it completed the collection, but I was like, damn, when I looked at it, I was like, shit, it really took me this long to fucking buy them all?
Yeah, dude. Pink Floyd's a lifetime collection.
Seriously. Like, dude, that box set coming out, man. I so want that.
The 7 hours of unreleased music. 7 hours!
Seriously.
What have you been holding out on us?
True that. And then it's got like a couple Syd Barrett songs that were unreleased too.
Yeah, I think it's mostly Syd Barrett stuff.
Oh, really? Good. But sadly, you're gonna have to spend a good $500 on that shit.
I'd say it's worth it.
It's totally worth it, but I've never got $500 to just fucking spend around.
Yeah. But if you do, oh, happy day.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's one of those things. Eventually, you'll probably be able to find it on Amazon for maybe $200 cheaper.
Or, somebody will just release the songs on YouTube and...
Yeah, definitely. Like me, I want the shit, it's gotta be...
But as long as I can listen to it, you know...
Just to hear it. Because it's one of them things that if I were to buy it, I would probably listen to it once and then put it on the shelf and never touch it again, and it would be like I have...
Yeah, it's like, I spent $500 for one listen, for one little peek at the golden apple.
Yeah, seriously, and now it's my... You don't touch it, like in Spinal Tap. You don't touch it. You don't play it. You never play it.
It's mint in box. You are not touching it. It's going to be worth something. It's the Ark of the Covenant. You open it up, your face will melt.
Seriously. So after metal, we get another soundtrack album, Pink
Obscured
Floyd.
by Clouds.
Yeah, I keep saying Colors, man. Obscured by Colors. I keep fucking that up.
Well, then you could take that and you can make that your own album. Obscured by Colors, or a song.
Mm-hmm.
Take one little switch.
And this is to another movie that I have never fucking heard of, called The Valley.
Yep, never seen it, never heard of it.
And there's pictures, I'm guessing these are pictures of the film in the liner notes here, and I don't know what the fuck this is even supposed to be about. Because you got this one dude, and he's like this modern guy, but he's in like this village, and there's like, it looks like this cannibal tribe dancing around him.
It's the original Village before M. Night Shyamalan.
Seriously. Then you got some people riding horses, and then this cool little mountain scenery.
It sounds like a horror movie, one with what you're telling me, and two, because of the name The Valley.
Yeah, like, it's seriously, but like the music just does not match what these images are bringing to you.
Again, if you're high, maybe.
Because like the music on here is like very, probably the closest to like 70s rock they've ever gotten. I mean, it's
another one of those albums where, like, I can't really remember a lot of the songs right now, but while you're listening to it, you're enjoying it because each song... Here's the thing for me when it comes to music. If you have a really good drum beat that can get me going, that's good. And with these songs, like, it always starts out quiet, and then the drum beat comes in, and then you're like, yeah, these are catchy songs.
Yeah, true that. But like
what was the song? There was a song about like getting older and like and dying, and that song was actually really pretty cool.
Yeah, that one, and I really like Free 4. That's childhood.
Yeah,
man.
Free 4.
Like those are ones that I really remember. Watts of the Deal. I like.
Oh my god, that title cracked me up when I first saw it. Because again, my Roger Waters voice comes in, and I'm like, that's him.
Watts of the Deal. Fucking, like, and then, what is it? The gold is in the ... Like, I like that one.
Where is it?
I can never remember. The only one that I really remember the music to is Free 4. The other one...
I do remember the end of the album did have that weird chanting.
Yeah. And
I think maybe that's what goes along with that witchcraft stuff you were telling me about.
Yeah, dude, like, what is going on here? Like, it's a good album, but sadly it's like we just said, it's forgettable.
And also just because of what album is next.
Definitely. So I guess we'll jump on there.
Here we go. This is the big one.
Fucking Dark Side of the Moon, man.
Dark Side of the Moon. If I remember correctly, the second biggest selling album in the world.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think the only one that beat it was Thriller.
Yeah, like this and Thriller, dude. Like this thing stayed on the fucking Billboard charts for like years, dude.
And to this day, it's like the most downloaded album. Because like aside from Thriller is a great album.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of songs that you go there for. Like, there's other songs that you wouldn't really listen to. You go there and you're like, oh, I want to hear Thriller, I want to hear Beat It,
yeah,
and I want to hear Pretty Young Thing. But here, you have to listen to the whole thing, and the more and more you listen to it, the more and more you start to appreciate the little things, like Any Color You Like.
Yeah.
Normally, you just sort of listen to it and then that's it. But now, when I'm listening to it on, like, shuffle, when it's not part of the concept album, when it's just its own song, it's still amazing.
Yeah. It's one of those albums that it gets better every time you hear it.
Now, I do think it's a little overrated. It's a little put up on a pedestal, but it's also on that pedestal that you can't deny that it's great.
Exactly.
But I still don't think it's like Pink Floyd's big, great album. I've argued for like a while now that I think Wish You Were Here is a little better.
Yeah, in a way.
I think that's just me.
Slightly, I don't know, because to me, this one, I will say it is overrated, but at the same time, it deserves.
Yeah, like you can't deny it. It's just that weird feeling in your gut that's like the people who claim to be Pink Floyd fans, you know, like those poser Pink Floyd fans who've only listened to this and maybe The Wall.
And I think the sad thing is like, our rock radio station down here only believes that Pink Floyd released 3 albums. They play just about everything on here. They'll play Have a Cigar all the time from Wish You Were Here.
That's my favorite Pink Floyd song of all time.
Really?
I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure, because it's so catchy. I love the message behind it.
True
and
that.
it fits the cover to the album perfectly. But that's Wish You Were Here. We're talking about Dark Side.
And like, dude, this is one album that, yeah, the songs are great on their own, but if you can listen to it from start to finish,
It's because for the first time, like, Pink Floyd was never really, like, one of those bands where it's like, oh, we're all friends and we went on the road together and we're going to do gigs. It's like Sid and Roger were friends and Nick and Rich were friends, but they were never really, they were more of an all-business band.
Yeah.
And usually they had, like, Roger Waters, like, writing all this music. This was the first time where it really feels like it was a collaborative effort, that all of them brought their all into the music. And that's why this one is undeniably put up on a pedestal, because it's so different from every other album. It really is an enigma. Yeah, because it just has that sound that no other album of theirs has.
Yeah, and you can definitely hear who's the more prominent writer. You can hear it. If Gilmour's singing and his guitar's going. And really, it's weird, dude, because I can't stand Gilmour by himself when he's live and he's singing songs that Roger mostly sang. But if it's him, like on that live album, Pulse, that whole disc of Dark Side Live, it just sounds just like the fucking Dark Side of the Moon album, because...
Yeah, granted, it is kind of weird to hear, like, Gilmour sing Another Brick in the Wall or something like that.
Yeah, or Road Like Hell.
I do think he sounds really... he sounds great and Comfortably Numb, because I think he was always singing that.
Yeah, that's definitely a Gilmour track.
His voice has that certain... I love his singing. I think he's great live. That's why I really wanted to check out his solo career. I loved it recently, how he mixed Comfortably Numb with Purple Rain. That blew my mind.
Yeah. See, I love his voice on all his stuff, but I only really like Roger when he starts getting weird and crazy, like when he sings on The Wall.
Yeah, here's my mentality when it comes to like Pink Floyd. If you want a like real singer, you get David Gilmour. But if you want somebody to laugh, scream, and just be a crazy or talk, or be a crazy motherfucker, you get Roger.
Yeah, because he can do character voices really well. Like
he's just got that weird, unnerving voice. It's like, here's the two Pink Floyd sounds. There's the calming shit and the crazy shit, and the calming shit is David, and the crazy shit is Roger, where before Sid Barrett was just all that shit twisted into one psychedelic blender.
Definitely. But man, and then like, dude, this album was one of those albums, and it's rare when an album, cause a lot of albums, they could be really good all the way through, but that last track might be a little weak, you know? This is one of those albums where the last track ends it on a freaking high note, dude. Because when Eclipse comes right after Brain Damage, like, Brain Damage is amazing. But
it's like every song has that thing that makes it memorable, the catchy tune. Like, you'll always remember... I didn't know the name of the song was Brain Damage, but then when I actually went back and listened to it many years ago, I'm like, I have heard this on the radio, because it's such a classic riff, just... Like, everyone knows that.
Seriously, and I have a funny little story about Eclipse and Brain Damage. We went to a bowling alley a good 10 years ago, and they had this bar in there, and there were people singing karaoke, and we were getting a little drunk, and it was filled with rednecks, dude. And I'm like, you know what? I want to fucking do karaoke. And this was like in my goth days. I had chains everywhere, fucking big-ass trip pants, and fucking KMFDM shirt, dude. I get up there, and I'm looking through the little book of songs, and I see Eclipse. I'm like, oh my god, dude, I gotta do this. So I'm up there, man, and it starts. And, like, I kind of just, like, didn't know what the fuck I was gonna do, dude. I froze for a second, and I was like, you know what? There's nothing but rednecks in here, so I just start going, all that you touch, and all that you feel.
Metal Eclipse. I would have done it country. I would have been like, all that you touch,
dude,
all that you feel.
Only my buddy Josh clapped when it was all over.
Dude, that was beautiful. That was beautiful.
It was funny as hell. Dude, it was. You heard crickets, man, and just Josh going.
What the hell is this devil music?
That shit was pretty funny.
Yeah, dude, and it's like, it's one of those songs, Brain Damage and Eclipse, that's like, you can kind of play Brain Damage separately, but you can't really. Every radio station does them together. Yeah. And Us and Them is one of the most beautiful, beautiful songs.
Yeah, it really is.
It's the first time Roger really touched on the matter of war, and then this is where, like, he starts talking about his father and stuff like that.
Us.
And now he's riding that shit for years now.
And them. Man.
Oh, it's such a good song. And then the saxophone and the background singers.
God, dude, like, it's...
That's something, like, that's definitely a Roger move, is the background women singers, because he does that a lot on his solo album.
The very soulful, very, like, Motown-esque kind of fucking background shit.
Great Gig in the Sky, they told that singer just to think of the scariest shit and just go insane in the booth.
Yeah, and dude, like, her vocalizing, like, takes that song off, dude.
Yeah, it's more than just screaming. It's screaming in harmony.
Yeah, dude, this album, man, like, yeah, you could easily say it's overrated, but god damn.
But then when you actually listen to it, it's like, fuck, no, it's not. It's like, it deserves all this.
It really does, dude. Fuck.
Yeah.
It's, fuck, here's a big thing I loved about the prog scene of the 70s, is there were like two halves of it. You had the real cerebral shit like Pink Floyd and King Crimson, maybe a little Gentle Giant and Mahavishnu Orchestra, but then you had like the real like majestic side with Yes and Rush and maybe Styx. Like, Styx is arguably a prog band. They're like, Styx is like Boston, like they're like disguised as a prog band.
But they're really like just typical rock. Like, I love them both. I think they're both really good.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's more mainstream. It's more like, it's more listener friendly.
Yeah, definitely. Like, they will get really big and bombastic, but you will hear.
You'll also have your More Than a Feeling and your
yeah, definitely.
And your Renegade.
Definitely. Because, shit, like, I highly recommend The Grand Illusion by Styx. Like, that's an amazing prog album, but there are songs on there that are like, this kind of sucks.
But they're always remembered for Come Sail Away, which is a great
It damn sure
song.
is, dude. That's a good-ass song.
Because it really is, I know I keep going back to Tool, but it really is, it's like an 80s rock version of a Tool song that he thinks they're angels, but then they're aliens, and then, oh fuck, am I tripping? Rosetta Stoned. Seriously.
But shit, alright. Dark Side, man, fucking great-ass album.
And also back what we were talking about with David Gilmour singing Roger's stuff, I have the same opinion when Roger sings, like, now I think his In the Flesh performance of Welcome to the Machine is great, but it always sounds weird when they sing each other's parts because you're just not used to it.
Yeah, definitely, because it
not
sounds
bad,
like
but
a
it's just
shitty
not
cover
their part.
band. It starts to sound like a shitty cover song.
I mean, like I said, like, when Gilmour sings Welcome to the Machine, it's like his voice suits it. He's got that rasp that, like, nobody else has, but it's also beautiful. Roger just sort of screams it.
Yeah, definitely.
But in the case of the In the Flesh version, he also brought the drums into it, and he brought the female singers in the background, which give it a different epic feel. So...
yeah. So now we move on to Wish You Were Here.
Arguably, probably my favorite album. Between this and The Wall, it really is a hard toss-up because I love Wish You Were Here.
Definitely.
The ode to Syd Barrett.
Yeah, and that's another cool thing and another thing you notice is there's a lot of Syd Barrett references throughout their albums. Like we talked about his obsession with animals. There's also this, maybe not an obsession, but like tributes to his fucking friend, man. Like,
it's not like we kicked you out of the band, and like it's not like a Dave Mustaine thing where it's like we kick you out, sayonara, we're never gonna like mention you again. We're just gonna take your music. It's more of like this, like leave no man behind. He's the reason why we're here.
Yeah, it's real touching, man.
And that's not ill-speaking Metallica, because they're arguably my favorite band. Pink Floyd's kind of pushing the limit to becoming my favorite band, but anyway.
But yeah, like it's touching because it's you could even, this whole album, dude, like with the title "Wish You Were Here," you can easily say that, you know, they wish Sid was there, and even the song "Brain Damage," you could easily look at that and
yeah, the concepts of insanity and schizophrenia.
yeah, and man,
is both easily as tackled as the things of war and Roger's father, because the two things that I think bother him most is that he lost his father before he could meet him, and he lost his best friend.
definitely. And like,
And another thing is that he can't keep a marriage. So yeah, he's just a pissed off dude.
so man, it starts off with "Shine On" Part 1. God,
Yeah, Shine On You Crazy Diamond.
Jesus,
So good.
like,
Here's the thing. This, I know only The Wall has like a movie, but I feel like Wish You Were Here deserves its own movie where you could have a character named Sid and you can go into like all that stuff. I've been thinking about this for a while, like doing this as like a fan project or something, because it really has the story shit for a movie. It really does.
It feels like, you know, it definitely feels like it could be a movie about, because the whole album feels and sounds like it's just distaste for the music industry.
Yeah, like Have a Cigar. Like I said, it fits the album artwork perfectly, and that's what I'm saying. You could have like a scene in the movie where this agent is like, he's like lip syncing along to the song, but then like you shake his hand and it turns out this music executive's the devil, and then you just recreate the album cover perfectly.
Seriously, dude.
Just like the Ghost Rider movie, the second Ghost Rider movie ripped off the Wish You Were Here cover when they're talking about making a deal with the devil.
I actually did not see the second Ghost Rider.
It's not good, but that made me laugh because it was directed by two people, and Nicolas Cage is narrating. He's like, "You make a deal with the devil," and then it cuts to a picture of the two directors like shaking each other's hand, and one of them's on fire.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Dude, like this, I can totally agree that this album, to me, is better, arguably, than Dark Side. Like, Dark Side's amazing, but this one does a lot of different shit.
And there are like people like Cover Killer Nation. If you watch his videos, he made a pretty good point though that Dark Side had like this collaborative feel, that it was all of them together, while the songwriting of Wish You Were Here feels more like one person writing again.
Yeah, that is a definite case there. You can
so
really
that's
feel
a good argument, but I still just whenever I hear the beginning and it's of Shine On and it's slow and it's just. I just get immersed.
Definitely. Because when you listen to Shine On, what's crazy is both parts of Shine On, they have that production sound that could easily be mistaken for something off of Dark Side of the Moon. But when when you get to Welcome to the Machine, and you have, dude, if you think that, if we can say that they invented heavy metal with the Nile song, in a weird way, Welcome to the Machine can be like some of the earliest industrial kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Because here's another, like I said, Welcome to the Machine was like the first song I listened to when I knew I was the first Pink Floyd song I really ever heard. And it just blows your mind because there's an epicness, there's a grandness to it, but there's also a quietness to it too.
Yeah.
And I think it's because there's the lack of drums.
And it's very mechanical sounding. It
really hits the machine, the machine aspect. And then when it goes into the keyboard, especially if you're listening to it with headphones, it comes through one ear and goes out the other.
Definitely. It's
and I feel like I'm on the Dark Side of the Moon cover, where it's like the light comes in, then the rainbow comes out the other end.
Seriously. And then Have a Cigar is definitely a rockin' ass groovy track. I love that.
Very awesome. My favorite song of Pink Floyd probably of all time. And the interesting thing is that's not any of them singing on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I forgot who the name of it is, but if you ever wondered why their voice sounds so much different, is because they had a guest singer do Have a Cigar.
Could that be... Let me see, because I think...
There's also an alternate version, but I think the actual legit version is still a guest singer.
There is... What's his name? There's a guy on this album. Okay, you got Roy Harper. Roy Harper sings on it.
Yeah.
He has his own shit. He does a lot of 12-string guitar stuff, and Yeah. I don't know much about Roy Harper. All I remember is when Fleet Foxes did their second album, they said they wanted it to sound like Roy Harper's fucking 12-string guitar.
All I know of Roy Harper is that he was on Have a Cigar.
Yeah. But yeah.
Such a good name for a song, too. Just Have a Cigar.
Seriously. And then,
it just fits the music industry perfectly. We call it Riding the Gravy Train.
Yeah. And
Everyone
which one
else
is
is
Pink?
just green.
You gotta love that
that's
reference.
the best line ever. The band is just fantastic. That is really what I think. Oh, by the way, which one's Pink?
Because they were always being confused with that was the name of one of the guys in the band.
Because they did name the band after two jazz singers.
Yeah, they did.
Pink something and Floyd something or other.
Yeah, like one... they were like two of Barrett's favorite artists or some shit like that.
And it just fits so well. Like, there's something about the name Pink Floyd that just...
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it almost feels like an army of some sort. Like, the Pink Floyd is coming for you.
Yeah, dude. Like, it could be like this scary monster on, like, a Muppet show.
But it could also be, like, this gentle giant.
Definitely.
Also, I like some of the other names for the bands they had beforehand when they were in, like, college and stuff like that. They had a Sigma 6, which I think was cool. The T-Set. And then the one that nobody really likes to talk about, that Roger Waters was on Jimmy Fallon once, and he's like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but they were originally called the Megadeths.
Wow. Huh.
It's spelled differently, but it's like Dave Mustaine's out there somewhere like, wow, thank God they didn't go with that.
Wouldn't that be weird if they went with the Megadeths and then...
And it just doesn't fit their sound.
Like, but check it. What if Dave Mustaine, like, in some alternate universe... Pink Floyd is the Megadeth, and yeah, he's fucking Pink Floyd, and you've got people... Dude, that would be weird, man.
Money! And then they're sitting around Roger Waters like, it's the Symphony of Destruction.
Hello, me. Meet the real me.
The real me. And then the real me is just screaming Roger like, hello! Because he's got to scream, he's got to laugh.
So then you got the song Wish You Were Here, which to me gets a little played out on the radio, but you gotta love that guitar riff.
It's the most user-friendly Pink Floyd song, I'd say, because, like, everybody loves Wish You Were Here. Like, when I'm driving in the car with my mom, and then she's like, oh yeah, I like Wish You Were Here. My mom, like, I'm pretty sure she likes Pink Floyd more than she likes to admit, but...
My mom would tell me that Dark Side of the Moon was her Get High album.
Great mother. Adam Hart mother.
I can agree with her. I'm like, I told her, I was like, it is a pretty good ass album to get high to, but... Yeah, my family was like very open about shit.
Yeah. Pretty easy going.
Yeah. So, like, then the album ends with part 2 of Shine On You Crazy Diamond, which I think is cool.
And that guitar solo is just another song you could sync to frickin' 2001. It would work.
Like, dude, it's really cool that, because they could have easily kept Shine On as one long track, but I like how they broke it up.
It really is. And the album doesn't feel short. I know as, like, the music goes on, you get The Wall, which is, like, 25 songs, but it's like you feel like you've gotten your fill with the 5 songs.
Yeah, definitely. And that's another great thing about early prog albums is most of the time they were never past 5 tracks. Like if you look at Close to the Edge from Yes, there's only 3 fucking tracks on that album. And you know, there'd be like 3 tracks to 5 tracks, but they'd all be completely substantial and
it's because of the length of the song.
Oh, yeah. And you still feel like you get your money's worth. I remember when I was a kid, when I was first starting to collect CDs, I would buy an album based on how many songs it had, because I'd be like, 5 songs? Why do I want 5 songs when I can have 15? And so, like, I kind of robbed myself from a lot of great shit when I was an early teenager.
Little did you know, the reason why some of these punk albums have 15 songs is because most of them are, like, under 2 minutes.
Seriously, dude. But, like,
which is also good in its own right. I love really long songs, and I love really short songs.
Definitely.
And Pink Floyd does both, especially when you get to the wall.
Yeah, and fuck yeah, dude. Like, so now we go to Animals.
Oh, and one more thing for Wish You Were Here, because I love how we talk about how they can sync up to stuff. Another rumor is that Wish You Were Here syncs up well with the silent film Metropolis.
I can see that. I can definitely see that.
I'm sure you can find like a YouTube video somewhere where it's all sunken up.
I know Metropolis used to be on Netflix. It might still be. I might have to just do that.
One of the early Star Wars inspirations, Metropolis.
Definitely. Like one of the first like sci-fi films.
And the robot looks a lot like C-3PO.
He really does.
Yeah.
But yeah, Animals, man. The first time I heard Animals, the first time, alright, I used to wear Pink Floyd shirts a lot, and my wife, I was at one of her family's get-togethers, and her cool uncle, man, this dude walks up to me and he's like, dude, the best album they ever made, man, was Animals. Like all
I think that's arguably true with the concepts they tackle and and the true like artistry and the technique that they use in this. It's again like Dark Side, where it has that certain sound that album has alone, that no other album sounds like it.
Seriously. And so he's telling me all that, and like I'm like, hell yeah. So my wife has this cool like stoner uncle dude. So we sat around, I stayed away from her whole family and just sat around talking to him about fucking prog music and shit the whole night. But I got this buddy, Charlie, and we'd go to his house a lot and sit in his room, and he's a big vinyl collector, and he put it on one day, dude, and we were taking rips from the bong, and I'm like, I've never heard Animals at this point, and I'm like, what the fuck are we listening to? He's like, dude, it's Pink Floyd, man.
If you didn't care, what happened to me?
Shit. God, yeah, dude. And I don't care. What
happens to you?
God, dude. Like, this album's fucking amazing.
And then Dogs. Dogs is one of the best Pink Floyd songs ever written.
Yeah.
Pigs, 3 different ones.
Yeah.
And all of them are catchy, and Sheep is like a really long punk song.
Yeah, dude.
Because it gets really fast, and it's really scary, and it's...
When Sheep gets into that fucking jam toward the end, that...
I just want to freaking, like, river dance or something. Yeah. I want to grab somebody by the hand and spin around, because I'm just like, this is so fucking catchy, dude.
Yeah, I love that riff, dude. Like, to me, that when it gets to that part of the song, I'm like, hell yeah. I mean, like, that's
it's a great note to end on.
That's the orgasm moment of the track right fucking there, man.
Yeah, and, what's it called? What am I thinking of? It cracks me up every time Roger goes like, have you heard the news? And he says so happily, he's like, the dogs are dead. I just imagine him with the biggest shit-eating grin.
Seriously, dude. And on fucking, I love the fucking lyrics on, I believe it's Pigs?
3 different ones.
Yeah, dude. Like, hey man, or big man, pig man, ha ha, charade.
It's very much a Syd Barrett lyric.
Seriously. Like that.
I love you, you fucked up old hag.
Like the way...
They get away with such passive cursing that when you download it off of iTunes, there's no explicit warning.
Seriously,
They just get away with it.
Because, like, it's... God, this... And then you gotta love that random floating pig over this factory, man.
Yeah, dude, that factory. I forgot what the name of the real factory was, but it was a real place. It's a very great album cover, When Pigs Fly.
See, it's crazy that, like, alright, if Wish You Were Here was the disdain for the music industry, this album is, like, disdain for humanity and the working class and just industry.
Yeah, because Dogs is very much going back to the music industry and the, and just any industry, really.
Mm-hmm. Like, that's a really cool thing about this album is, like, it really, it's, God, dude, dare I say political, but it's very...
Well, yes, very, very political, which is where Roger Waters really starts to go now, but,
It's one of those things that, man, like, it's like, I like that they're singing about the working man better than most country artists.
Yeah, exactly. Like, take that, Willie Nelson.
Seriously.
But this is an album that I kind of want to call Shakespearean in a way, because we talk about syncing up these albums to movies, but when you really listen to the lyrics to Dogs, it can really harken back to a character like Macbeth. Like, because it's really like you have to be crazy, you gotta be trusted by the people that you lie to, so you can stab them in the back. It's just, the lyricism in this album is so... It's poetic.
Yeah, definitely. And the way it bookends with Pigs on the Wing 1 and then Pigs on the Wing 2, I like how those tracks are fairly short, because they kind of feel like...
It's like a reverse Wish You Were Here, where you have the two really long tracks bookending it, now you have the two really short tracks bookending it.
Yeah, and like the middle tracks are the real long ones this time around.
And you really feel like you were on a journey, because it starts out like, I don't care what happens to you, and then when you end it, it's like, you actually do care.
Yeah. God, dude.
And then, historically, this was when Roger's anger issues really started to fucking show, because of the asshole crowd members. There's such a funny recording out there where he's trying to sing Pigs on the Wing, and there are people shooting off fireworks, and he's like, I'm trying to sing a fucking song here, you're shooting off fireworks! Get the fuck out of here!
Oh,
and then he spit out a fan.
Shit.
Which, isn't that a lyric in Dogs? Like, who was trained not to spit in the fan? Like, shouldn't you listen to your own lyrics?
Oh, shit. Oh, but yeah, thing I forgot to mention on Wish You Were Here, Primus did a cover of Have a Cigar.
Oh, yeah, it's so good.
Yeah,
so good.
Real fucking good.
Primus, another, like, band that without Pink Floyd we wouldn't have.
Definitely. Like, if it wasn't for bands like Pink Floyd or The Residents, like, you could not have fucking Primus.
And Primus is, like, one of humanity's greatest fucking creations.
It really is, dude. It really is. Thank God for the 90s.
Primus.
Thank God. Like, because the Primus could have only happened in the 90s. You know what I mean? Like...
Yeah, you can get away with so much shit in the 90s. My voice cracked it so amazing.
Seriously.
So much shit. I turned into Dolores O'Riordan.
But, like, dude, man, fuck. So at this point, I guess this is where after this album is where a lot of the fans sort of get divided, because, like, it kind of blew me away that a lot of YouTube reviewers that I've seen talk about The Wall, they don't like it as much.
Well, here's where Animals is. It's what I like to call, like, the end of classic Floyd, because although I said, like, the lyrics of Wish You Were Here sounded like one person, there really was this sense of nobody was really controlling the band.
Yeah.
Here now, it's very much we have a leader.
Definitely.
Which hasn't been a thing since Syd Barrett, but when Syd Barrett was doing it, it wasn't really like a control thing. It was more like he knew what he was doing as opposed to the rest.
Yeah. True that.
And now, like, if Syd Barrett was the original Crazy Diamond, Roger Waters takes that place with The Wall, because now it's all him. He has a plan now. After he spit at the fan at one of the Animal concerts, he felt so ashamed, even though, what's so wrong with that? Apparently the dude was being an asshole trying to get on stage. Why not?
Yeah.
I guess it's that British charm. I don't know. But he figured we need to build a wall between us. There's this isolation between me and the fans, and I'm rethinking my life, and oh my god, my dad, and all that stuff.
So, alright, when you get to The Wall, man, this is a big album to, like, sort of undertake, especially when you first get it. Because you're like, man, God, dude, what is this, 26 fucking songs?
Originally 25 songs, and then when the movie came out, they added more songs, and to this day, he's adding more songs.
True that, because, like, the copy I have is I think it's the original CD release. It doesn't show the newer date, it just says 79. But, it's the big, bulky, double disc case of olden times. But, yeah, there's 13 tracks on each disc here.
Like, this isn't an album, it was an event.
Yeah, definitely.
It really was.
It's a fucking event. And my god, dude. This album's fucking amazing, man.
Oh my god, it's a. I'm not gonna say it's Shakespearean like Animals was, but it very much is like its own. It's an epic. It really is.
Definitely, and like to me, each track has something great to add because you've got real crazy spacey songs, and then you've got fairly average songy songs. Like Young Lust is one that I can skip. Because it's,
oh really? I love Young Lust.
Well, I just it was played out on our radio. Like on the songs on here that are always played on the radio here are Young Lust, Breaking the Wall, fucking Part 2.
Definitely, and then there's Run Like Hell.
Yeah,
Hey
Run
You.
Like Hell.
People love Hey You.
Yeah, and fucking Comfortably Numb.
Well, Comfortably Numb is probably one of the greatest songs ever written.
True that. But I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about that guitar riff in Young Lust that I don't know, man. Like, yeah,
it's so sexy, dude.
Yeah, it is. But it's one that I'm glad that it's like halfway through the fucking album.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a teenager and it's like, yeah, man. Like, where's the women?
But damn, dude, like, even the story on this fucking album, dude, like, you can look at it in so many ways. Like you were saying, it could be about him building a wall against the fans, but at the same time, it could be how would Syd Barrett react to all of this shit? And
Pink, I love that they took the character Pink mentioned in, Have a Cigar, and they made him a character.
Definitely.
That's pretty much what Pink is. He's Roger Waters and Syd Barrett combined.
And when
to make Bob Geldof.
When he shaves all the fucking hair off of his body, is a big reference to when...
To Syd Barrett.
Yeah, when he came in the studio all fucking shaved to
10 pounds overweight. Like, with a bag of gummy bears.
But Jesus, dude, this to me is a flawless album, man.
I do... It probably is my favorite album. It's an album that speaks a lot to me because I'm a fucked up dude. But I will admit, like, when there are filler tracks, there are filler tracks. Like, and I love them, but there's stuff like Is There Anybody Out There? Like, it works for, like, live stuff. But there are some skippable tracks. But it's such a grand story that you keep listening.
Definitely. Because, like, I can skip the singles easy. But if I'm going to listen to Breaking the Wall Part 2... it's gotta start off with The Happiest Days of Our Lives.
Such a good opening. Oh
Definitely.
My god. It's freaky because of the way he's singing it, just when we grew up. It's like he's just telling us a story. It's freaky. It's so good.
When Happiest Days of Our Lives is ending and it's like building up to that fucking...
oh my god, just the horns and everything.
Dude.
And then just leading into it.
Yeah, and then when it runs into another brick in the wall, it
gives another brick in the wall such new meaning and
definitely.
Opposed to just playing it on the radio like, oh, here's our hit song.
Yeah, because it makes you feel like you're hitting that wall when it gets to it.
You hit against the brick wall. It's not just here's the song. It's here's the backstory. Fuck you. Here you go.
And then I love Mother. The song Mother is fucking great.
Mother is beautiful.
Mother, do you think they dropped the bomb? God,
Mother,
that guitar.
do you think they'll try to break my balls? That's the big, like, when you're a little kid, you listen to this song, you're like, they're funny.
Yeah, dude, fuck, man. And I love his voice on this album, dude. He fucking just...
Yeah, this is where his singing gets really good, where it's more than just talking and, screaming, which he'll later go back to on some of his solo stuff and the final cut. It's more just him reading out of a storybook that he calls an album, but
yeah,
that's why I love Outside the Wall, because the way he says it on the album, it sounds like he's reading out of a Dr. Seuss book while these kids are singing it. He's just like, some hand in hand, another together in bands. The end.
Definitely. Dude, the end of Flesh tracks, fuck, the show must go on, dude. Fuck, man. And then, probably my favorite song on here, hands down, is The Trial.
Oh yes, the trial is so good. Its use of characters,
Yes.
just especially the movie scene is one of the greatest scenes in film history, in my opinion. Just because the
judge
animation,
with the
you don't need to
asshole
see
mouth.
the rest of the movie. This is like really all you need to see. This is what made it, like that and the teacher stuff.
Definitely, and like, dude, there's that. All right, the orchestra in the trial. The Batman theme, Tim Burton's Batman theme, completely takes music out of that. When it goes, bah, 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 bah.
I never noticed that, but it's true.
It's definitely in there, dude. It is definitely in there. When I first heard
Well,
this...
when there's the crazy toys in the attic, I totally think of like the original Batman, the animated series type animation, like imagining the Joker in like a straitjacket and the shadows of the bars. Like, doesn't it just make you think of that animation style?
Yes, it
just snow falling outside.
Crazy toys in the
attic, I am crazy.
God, dude, man, this
They
album...
must have taken my marbles away.
Shit.
Such a good lyric.
Definitely, dude.
Because everyone's been there. Everyone has been to that point where you think you're crazy, but it's not. It's society that makes you feel that way. Especially if you're like weirdos like us.
Definitely. And it's such a relatable album on so many different aspects, man.
It's relatable to the point where in English class last year, we were supposed to do this project where it's like, pick 5 songs that relate to you. And I go up to my teacher, I'm like, hey, is 25 songs all right? And I wrote this whole big essay of like what The Wall means to me. She absolutely loved it.
Awesome. That is fucking
cool. And this album means a lot. It's still relevant to this day because of the bullshit with Trump and stuff like that. Like, we still haven't learned a lesson that division isn't good.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that another question that the album raises is, you never really know, is the wall a good thing or a bad thing? Because sometimes, like, the wall, you hide behind it, protects you, but also at the same time, it gives you that isolation. And at the end of the album, when they take down the wall, it sort of talks about it like it's a bad thing, but at the same time, you could take it as a positive thing.
Yeah, because it's like it's always temporary. The safety is temporary.
It's how you interpret it. Like, everybody, in my opinion, has a wall. We all have mental walls that we use. And sometimes they break down. Sometimes, like, they're huge. Sometimes they're small. Sometimes you use them in a good way, and sometimes they go too far.
Definitely.
But we all have it.
Yeah, it's such a good fucking... I know a lot of people just don't like big, self-indulgent rock operas, but god damn it, I love this kind of stuff, man. Like Tommy from The Who, fucking... Even some of the shittier rock operas like Kilroy's here from Styx. Like, I'm like, just fucking do it, man. Make something big and grand. And some of them tell an amazing story, and then some of them just get lost in what they're trying to do. But
the reason why The Wall works so well is because Roger had a whole lifetime of experience to build this up. So much shit happened in his life that had been, like, bothering him. And that happens to a lot of people. Like, you bottle it in for so long, and then it just comes back up.
Definitely. Oh, but back on Dream Theater, dude. Their newest album, The Astonishing, it's a big-ass fucking double-disc freaking rock opera that, to me, is as amazing as The Wall. Maybe not lyrically, because it kind of tells a cliche story, but damn it, is that album, like, epic and grand and me.
Yeah, like, The Wall has one of those stories that, especially when you watch the movie, it's a very much like a what the fuck is going on kind of movie that only, like, Pink Floyd fans would really get. It's like, I'll admit, the movie makes no sense, but it's just so fun to look at.
Definitely, dude.
Watch it with the audio commentary with the director and Roger Waters. It's like they barely even talk in it. They sit there quietly for such a long time just watching the movie.
It too.
I'm like, Roger, you're not used to this whole commentary thing, are you? And then they go on talk about like, oh, well, the world's fucked up. Like, what about pedophiles and stuff like that? I'm like, why are you talking about that during The Wall? And he's like, all right, let's talk about the singing asshole.
Shit, I did not watch it with the commentary. I used to own that movie, man, but I fucking... I fucking pawned it, dude, a long time ago. And
there's a vinyl out there, like, and fans have remixed like this album, like the wall music from the soundtrack or something like that, because they do have songs that have yet to be released. There's the live version of What Shall We Do Now, which is probably one of my favorite songs, but it's only in the film. There's no, like, that version cannot be downloaded.
Damn.
And it's such a good hard rockin' song, and it talks more about the music industry and stuff like that, and like, shall we buy a new guitar? Shall we drive a more powerful car? It's very much just like, why is it a popularity contest?
Seriously.
And how the face comes screaming out of the wall. It's some of the best animation. It really is sad that people have like resulted in 3D animation, because it's very much like a piece of... It's beautiful. It really is.
Definitely. And this, sadly, this is where the band really started to break apart, man, because...
Yeah, the writing of Comfortably Numb, like, was David Gilmour's last straw. Gilmour had already done a couple of solo albums, or like one.
Yeah, I think he's... Like, his solo shit is, like, real, like, short. Because I think, what was it, Island, or On an Island, or whatever that one? That was, like, his first one in many years.
And then he had one called, like, About Face, or something like that. His stuff is more, it's like, his solo stuff is him trying to get away from, like, the more proggy stuff. He just wanted to do something a little more listener friendly, a little more, like, just rockish.
Yeah.
And I can understand that. He needs a break sometime. But Roger Waters' solo albums are very much just, like, continuations of The Wall in concept and in sound. The Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking, he was writing alongside with The Wall, and he went up to the band and he was like, which one are we going to do? Pick one, and the other one I'll do solo, and they picked The Wall.
Okay.
So that's why there's a couple of recorded, like, extras on, like, because they released many different versions of The Wall with, like, oh, here's the tape demos, and there's a song on there called Sexual Revolution, which Waters later did on Pros and Cons. So
okay,
it's a very interesting story.
I'm gonna have to get his solo shit, definitely.
Yeah, Pros and Cons is great. Radio Chaos is pretty catchy, and like I said, I haven't heard him used to death yet, but I hear that's good.
And so he even like was so pissed with Richard that he said he would not release The Wall unless Richard Wright quit the fucking band.
Yeah.
And that's some sad shit. Because, like,
yeah, dude.
I fucking love his keyboard playing, dude.
Yeah, dude. And may he rest in peace, because he was a great keyboardist. He's one of the main, like, he's one of the things that Pink Floyd needs. He's very essential, because Pink Floyd is known for, like, the keyboard sound. It very much is, like, the heart of Pink Floyd.
Definitely. So now...
And like I said on my reviews, Roger Waters' lyricism is more like the brain of Pink Floyd.
I can definitely see that. But now we get to probably the point where I'm kind of like very iffy with Pink Floyd, man.
The final cut.
Yeah, the final cut, man.
You know, I kind of like this album more than I'd like to admit, because like I said, there's something about the way Roger Waters does albums that I just gotta love. There's
a lot of good stuff on this album, but when you've just... It's so hard to listen to when you find out how much of a dick he was the whole time. And
yeah, it very much is Roger Waters' first solo effort, but
I mean, really,
it does have its shining moments. The thing that I like about this album is that it usually starts off quiet, and then you have like those booming things like "Do you remember me?" and all that stuff.
It's
just a little too little. Like, we need more of that big stuff, because there's a lot of slow moments on the album.
It's a very volume impaired album, dude, because like it will get so quiet to where he's like, "A requiem for the post-war dream," and like you're turning your volume
and then they'll be like,
real
nah!
up. Yeah, dude.
When did this happen?
This album, I'm constantly fucking with the volume, dude, to hear it right, because like he'll whisper, he'll do his talking
it's
whisper
very much
shit.
his mission for this album was more on the lyrics than the actual music, I feel. But it does have its shining moments. Like the Fletcher Memorial Home is a great song.
Fletcher Memorial Home, yeah. Dude, there's a lot of good shit on here, but damn.
When the Tigers Broke Free was from the Wall movie, and
yeah,
a lot of this, Final Cut.
A lot of this was leftover shit from the Wall, and they said David Gilmour had said to him, if they weren't good enough for the Wall, why are they good enough now? And then
because we have nothing else.
Exactly, and then it's also like the first half of the album is a sequel to The Wall, where it follows, like the first 6 tracks, I believe, follow the teacher from The Wall, and there's even a short film featuring the guy that played the teacher in the movie with these.
Really?
Yeah. With these,
see, I didn't know that, because this was another one of those albums that I'm like, just for shits and giggles, I would want to like adapt this to a fan film too.
Yeah, because
the Wall movie, it really leaves it up to your own interpretation, where it's like, did Pink die at the end?
Yeah.
It's a very big question. It's like, I really think he possibly died.
There's a big possibility.
That tears down the wall, you don't see him after that. I think he overdosed in that hotel room and died. And back to The Wall, that's what I was going to talk about with the filler tracks. It's like once you get into that hotel room where he's just sitting there watching TV, there's a lot of just quiet filler tracks, and they're beautiful, but it really takes a while before you get to like Hey You, where you get back into, it's like the first half, then the middle half slows down.
Yeah.
And then you get back to the good shit.
True that. But yeah, so there's a short film here. And then the other half of the album is just sort of, I believe it's like, disdain for politics and war, but damn it, dude, like there's one of these songs, damn it, I always forget which one it is, but
it's another one of those albums where it's like when you actually talk about it and analyze it, yeah, it's definitely not one of their greatest albums, but when I just sit down and listen to it like all the way through, I do feel satisfied by the end.
Yeah, I can agree with that, because like it's definitely one of my least favorite albums by them, but there is some really good shit on here.
I got the feeling I was gonna put it on my like one of my lowest ones. Like, oh my god, is this gonna pass on Magumma? Because it just feels so boring. But then when I actually sat down and listened to it, I'm like, you know what? I actually really do enjoy listening to it, and I've listened to it a couple of times over now. Like, Paranoid Eyes is a very beautiful song. The Gunner's Dream, very good.
And like
again, it's another one of those quiet songs where it's like it's whisper, whisper, then scream.
Yeah, this next song is Southampton Dock. But like, yeah, I did on my early Monster from the Studio episodes, I had reviewed this and A Momentary Lapse of Reason when I was talking about like the whole theme was good prog gone bad, and this was on there. That was like 4 years ago, and I hardly remember what I even said on there. But there are songs that I do. There's a song that on here that I forget which one it is, but it's a complete rip-off of Comfortably Numb. The music and everything. It's basically Comfortably Numb with different lyrics.
I'm trying to remember. There's the Post-War Dream, Your Possible Past, One of the Few. When the Tigers Broke Free, and then what's after When the Heroes Return.
I really do like Two Suns in the Sunset and Not Now John.
Not Now John is one of my favorite Pink Floyd songs ever, so that's why I kind of like, I give this album the benefit of the doubt, because it does get good shit, and hey, there's David again. Good thing he's still got something to do.
Yeah. Because, I mean, like...
I just find it funny how the chorus of women in the background are like, fuck all that!
Yeah, dude, like, those are some of the most blatant, like, cussing in a Pink Floyd song.
The most blatant cussing since We're So Fucked! Shit out of luck!
Yeah, dude.
I want to self-destruct!
Seriously, dude. Like I've never really even heard Metallica blatantly cuss like that before.
Not since like Lulu, but in your retrospective, it's clearly Lou Reed's lyrics.
Yeah, definitely. But like, fucking, what is it? Even the back of here where it says the final cut, a requiem for the post-war dream by Roger Waters, performed.
He gave it a subtitle.
By Pink Floyd. Say what?
He gave it a subtitle,
Yeah.
a requiem for the post-war dream.
Definitely. On the back of the cover here, it says the final cut, a requiem for the post-war dream by Roger Waters, performed by Pink Floyd. And it's like, oh, dude, like, it's so...
Is that like a storybook?
I mean, really.
Was he reading some, like, Hubert Selby? Like, oh, Requiem for a Dream, I like this.
I mean, really, dude. It's like, it's... Yeah, I hate that. For a band like this, I mean, it's easy to say prog music is pretentious, but I think any artist has to be fairly pretentious to do anything. But that subtitle just reeks of self-indulgence. Like,
but here's the thing, though. Like, yeah, it's a dick move, but it's so funny that I just want to fucking hug him. And I'm like, oh,
I know,
because
it's like,
but I love you.
It's like it's like such a dick move, and it's...
But in the context of the album, when you're listening to it, it's like, you know what, yeah, it is the Requiem for the Post-War Dream.
Oh my god. It's such a... God, dude, this is the point where it's like, I have more complaints about an album, and it's sadly, it's gonna kind of stay this way.
I quite enjoy this album, especially the lyrics in the Fletcher Memorial Home, where it's like they could heed to themselves, boom, boom, bang, bang, lie down, you're dead. I'm like, that is politics, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like they're just children. Take all your overgrown infants away.
Yeah.
Oh, and get your filthy hands off my desert.
Yeah, dude, I like...
Get your filthy hands off my desert! And then just, what did he say? And then boom, that's another song that scared the shit out of me, because again, quiet, then explosion.
Yeah, it's not a bad album. To me, it's
just very hearing impaired.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, when I listen, I probably listened to this one... God, dude, I've probably listened to it 5 or 6 times the entire fucking time I've owned it. And every time I listen to it, I'm like, okay, I remember liking this. But then, when I put it next to all the other stuff they've done, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it's just one of the forgettable. It's one of the few, if you will.
Yeah, it is definitely one of the few, and it just knowing how much of a dick he was kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Or in my
I can
ears.
understand that.
But, like, damn it, I can't deny the fact that there is a lot of good shit on there. Like,
yeah, it did have potential. It's just not one of their greatest. But for what it is, I could enjoy it.
So now we go to...
The Gilmore-led era, because Roger Waters is like, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Pink Floyd is a spitfuls.
He tried to get the name Pink Floyd, like, taken off. He's like, and the executives are like, that's a brand name now. Like, we make money off of selling these shirts. You can't... That's the one dick move that I actually do have, like, some distaste for Waters, that he's just like, I am Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but you're kind of not.
Exactly. It's like, Sid Barrett didn't do this when you kicked him out of the band, dude.
Yeah, Sid Barrett didn't know where the fuck he was.
Yeah, true that, but...
But I even think if he was normal, he wouldn't say, I'm Pink Floyd.
Definitely.
I think he was a little more modest, a little more humble.
Definitely. It'd have been
But that's what happens with success.
Yeah.
Like, even back then, the success that Pink Floyd had wasn't it wasn't a wall amount.
Definitely. So we go to Momentary Lapse of Reason, and...
I love this album.
Really?
I think because I explained it on my Facebook post reviewing this album, that one, it gives it a new sound that we haven't really heard before. It sort of blends in with the 80s rock crowd, but it works. And also because when Roger Waters left, like I said in the post, they didn't just lose a bassist, they lost their mainframe. They lost their brain and their lyricist, and they had to, quote-unquote, learn to fly. And I feel like they did. I feel like David Gilmour does have a lot of talent to write songs that are politically charged and stuff like that, but it's like, it's not a concept album, really. Like, some songs connect, but it's back to basics. It's back to just, let's make good music.
Yeah.
And Learning to Fly, Dogs of War, yet another movie, Terminal Frost. I think it's all good.
Yeah, it's one that, man, I don't really get into this album too much, and it's because of the way they blend the Pink Floyd sound with the 80s sound. It works, but at the same time, I don't know, I feel bored with a lot of this album. Like, I do like Learning to Fly.
I can get that. I can understand that.
I do like Learning to Fly. Signs of Life is cool. Like, you really...
On the Turning Away?
Yeah, I really like On the Turning Away. That to me is
here's the thing about Learning to Fly. That's like the song that everyone likes to push from the Gilmour era. Like, this is one of the greatest songs that they ever did. I actually think it's kind of overrated, Learning to Fly. It's a great song, but I don't think it's like the greatest Gilmour ever did on his own.
I think
especially when we get to the Division Bell.
On the Turning Away to me is much better than Learning to Fly. Like, On the Turning Away is one of those songs that like gives me chills. And like the meaning. And again,
he has such a great voice. His guitar skills never like, he always has it. Even to this day, even though he's old, he still has like every bit of talent that he had from back then. He's only gotten better.
Yeah, and I love that with this album, it could easily just be the David Gilmour show, but he lets Richard Wright shine, and he lets...
Yeah,
and
it made me appreciate David Gilmour a lot more, because The Wall was one of the first albums I ever heard, and like I said, I really connected with it. I wrote a whole like essay about it. But I was, like, riding the high on fucking Roger Waters' jock. I was in love with this dude, and I was like, oh, yeah, the rest of them are fine, but you, Raji, I love you. But, I really look back at David Gilmour, I'm like, this dude is a rock god. This dude is really... he's amazing, and he's humble, and he's modest, and he just cares about the music.
Yeah. And what's really crazy is this album actually started out as a Gilmour solo album, and...
But he was humble enough to be like, let's get the guys together.
Yeah, but what's sad is like Nick Mason and Richard Wright could barely play their instruments, and a lot of Nick Mason's parts are replaced with drum machines or other drummers and stuff like that. So it's kind of sad at the same time, because it's like these dudes who were a big part of this
can't really...
it almost seemed like...
They got to get their groove back.
Yeah, it's almost like they kind of gave up after Roger...
After the whole Roger debate.
Yeah, and then now that they came back, they all had to learn everything again. And
they had to learn to fly.
Definitely.
But here's the thing, though. When I see Roger Waters and David Gilmour and Richard Wright do Comfortably Numb together, their singing works off each other really well. Like, Richard Wright was not a bad singer.
Yeah.
Because I think he did most of the background singing.
But I think one of the worst things about this album is definitely the pictures of the band in the liner notes here, because it reeks of shitty 80s fucking band pictures. I don't know, dude.
What, do they have big hair and shoulder pads?
Nah, man, it's like, it looks like pictures of Genesis in the 80s, man. Like, there's these two pictures.
Well, here's what I was going to talk about with the Division Bell later. A lot of the newer, like, Pink Floyd songs do have sort of a Phil Collins-esque vibe to them.
They do, and what's even crazy...
I actually really like that, because I love Genesis, and I love Phil Collins.
I love Genesis. Their 80s stuff I don't get into as much as the 70s, but damn it, Phil Collins is great.
I mean, Land of Confusion, man.
Yeah, that's a rockin'-ass song. That album sucks, but damn it, if it wasn't for the Brazilian...
You think Invisible Touch sucks?
Man, Invisible Touch is good cheese, but the Brazilian, Domino, and Land of Confusion, to me, are like the best things about that album.
I think those songs make it worth it. And also, have you seen... it is 80s cheese, but I'm one of those, like, hipsters who, like, love all the 80s stuff because they're cheesy and stuff like that.
I can agree with that.
Like, have you seen the music video to Land of Confusion? It's so hilarious.
Yeah, with the fucking those puppets and shit. Like, that's a great music video to watch stoned. It really is. But like there's a song on here that God, dude, I forget which track. I pointed out on my fucking monster review, but there's a song on here where there's a musical interlude that is almost a complete ripoff of a musical interlude from the Invisible Touch album. It's like almost exactly the same.
I wouldn't know, really, because it's been a while since I've heard Invisible Touch, and I don't know. Even if it was, like you said, there was also the song on Final Cut that sounded like Comfortably Numb. It's stuff like that I don't really notice.
Oh, really? Like, it's shit that...
unless it's, like, blatantly, like, taking it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, me and my brother, we talk about this a lot, that we notice, like, if people use the same riffs or motifs and stuff like that, we'll sort of notice, like, especially, like, even on Hellbilly Deluxe 2 from Rob Zombie, there's a song that is a complete ripoff of Freya by The Sword, and, you know, I like stuff like that where it's like, you can be like, oh, this is the same thing as that, but...
Dude, I love Rob Zombie, but,
hell yeah.
Really, in terms of, like, finding a riff ripoff, it really comes down, like, if somebody does, like, Sweet Home Alabama. I always notice that.
Yeah.
Because even in, like, Metallica's The Four Horsemen, there's, like, a Sweet Home Alabama moment where it's like... I'm like, that's metal Sweet Home Alabama.
And then, there, you know, there's some that, like, if you hear that Wild Thing riff, you know that millions of songs have that Wild Thing riff.
And it's like, especially if a song has a really simple riff, like, some people just kind of come up with it without even knowing it. Like, I came up with a riff once that sounded very similar to, I think it was Know Your Enemy by Rage Against the Machine.
Sweet.
I have a riff that's very similar to it, and I had never heard the song before, and then when I listened to it, I'm like, oh shit, it's Taken. That was the song with Maynard James Keenan from Tool, and that's great.
Hell yeah.
Speaking of dicks who I love,
yeah,
Maynard James Keenan.
Seriously. But man, like this was a great sort of comeback album in a way, man, because like people thought Pink Floyd was dead, and
and people like conceiving it without Roger Waters, the dude who had practically like written all the big albums. Without him, it's like, how are they gonna move on? And they did. They learned to fly, and they got it.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why, I kind of get your gripes with the album, but I respect it on that level that's like they didn't let it get them down. Sort of like Ummagumma, where it's like, they had just lost Syd Barrett, but fuck it, we're going to keep going.
Yeah.
Even if we don't know what we're doing, we're going to try.
And it's not a bad album, it's just a little boring to me.
Yeah, it's not something I'd listen to like in full a lot. Unlike Division Bell coming up next. Division Bell is one of my favorite Pink Floyd albums.
Yeah, Division Bell is pretty fucking good. Like
Division Bell is one of the most beautiful things, and The Wall I said was probably like my number one favorite, but even that album had filler tracks. Like Division Bell, every song is necessary. Like, I will not skip any of them because they're all, like, needed to keep this album afloat.
Yeah, Division Bell to me is much better than Momentary Lapse, and it feels like they knew exactly what they wanted to do when they came into it.
Yeah, they overcame losing Roger, and now, like, David had a plan, writing those songs on his little houseboat of his.
Yeah, I would love a little houseboat studio like that. That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. But what I was talking about before, how it sort of sounds like Phil Collins, there's a couple of there's like one song on here, I don't know if it's like Back to Life or something like that. It's like a really fast song where his singing is like, and it sounds like the Phil Collins Tarzan soundtrack. I don't know. I think that this came out before Tarzan, but
definitely.
And I love the Tarzan soundtrack. Like, that's my childhood right there. But
I loved the Disney's Tarzan movie. I thought that was pretty good.
Dude, it's the soundtrack that makes it. It's like Phil Collins is so good.
Yeah, you know,
Listen to that album and listen to the Two Worlds song. There's like the Disney version and then there's Phil's version.
I like
and Phil's version of Two Worlds is so Genesis. He puts drum fills. It's like, and it's so good.
I like how worldly his music sounds. Like the music on that movie that Collins made sounds like 80s Genesis when they would do their worldly sort of sound with the, I don't know, man. It's pretty good shit.
Well, I created a theory because of it, because I've heard some people complain about the soundtrack because not a lot of the characters actually sing the songs in the movie, that Disney is usually musical, and it's just this unembodied voice
It's
telling
like they're
you the
just
story.
Tarzan music videos.
Yeah, but here's my theory. My theory, because a lot of people like to connect the Disney movies, my whole theory is that Phil Collins is actually God in the Disney universe. He has the beautiful voice, and he tells the characters what they need to do.
Huh.
Right? Doesn't it just make the soundtrack so much more awesome when you watch the movie and you're like, God Collins is telling you to go find that Tarzan baby?
And he also did it on
Brother Bear.
Yeah, Brother Bear.
That didn't really work as well. Tarzan was really like the Oscar-winning one-time thing.
Yeah.
But we're talking about Pink Floyd.
Oh yeah.
Welcome to our Phil Collins retrospective. Studio, fuck yeah.
Studio.
Studio.
I loved it on South Park when they had Phil Collins on there, always carrying his Oscar around, and this is my song. It's called Boop Boodio. Boop Boop Boodio.
I love the episode where like they were talking about the whole like file sharing thing, and they had like Metallica and Ozzy Osbourne there. It's like, we only care about money.
Yeah, dude.
I'm like, that's foul, but it's fucking funny.
Hell yeah. You see, when you download their song, they can't buy their 7th jet.
Yeah. All he wants is a private island for his birthday. Are you gonna deny this child his own private island?
Seriously. But yeah, dude, like this album, man, Cluster 1 is really good, and
Cluster 1 made me like reach nirvana. I don't know what it was, and I talked about this on Facebook, that I was listening to it with my eyes closed. I don't do drugs. I'm a sober guy. I was just sitting there trying to go to sleep, and I just found myself in this weird state of calmness. And I sort of imagined myself on an island. It was so weird. It was so calming.
sweet ass, just sweet meditation, bro.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's just because I'm a pretty wound up guy. I kind of complain every day. That's why I review movies on my channel, because I'm good at pointing out flaws and just like bitching. But like when I find myself in that feeling of calm, it really is like an event.
But man, I love this album cover on Division Bell.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
It's
so
like,
good. It's so prog, but so awesome.
It's two heads facing each other, but then at the same time, it's one head looking at you with targets.
Very 90s prog.
Yeah, and then in the mouths, it's like they're eating this castle in the distance, and it's creepy.
And there's also, it depends on the cover you have. I don't know if because I've seen different versions of it, but there's also the one with the red flags in the background.
Oh, really? Oh, mine does not have red flags.
Yeah, mine has red flags in the background. It's kind of like a prototype of the Tool 10,000 Days album, where it's two things making one face.
Oh, one cool thing about this album was when it came out, they had a contest where it was like, if you could figure out the meaning with all these images, and then you like send them in or whatever, what the meaning is, and if you won, you got something. Because like if you look at all these pictures, man, there's like just shit everywhere to look at, and apparently
it really is just like a landscape kind of picture.
Yeah, and like all the pictures in the album, like if you could figure out what it all means, you would win something, but apparently no one has ever fucking figured it out.
Do you think that contest is still up for grabs? Do you think if somebody actually gets it?
I wonder, man.
On David Gilmour's deathbed, just shaking the dying old man, like, what does it mean?
Seriously, dude. I mean, this album has some of the best imagery that they've had in a long time up to this point.
I'm not afraid to admit, when I'm a man who cries, this album has made me cry a couple of times with songs like Marooned and High Hopes. It's made me cry.
Yeah, so a lot of this shit can bring on, the music can bring on tears.
Because Marooned is just such a beautiful song, especially when the drums come in, the artistry, the fucking skill that David Gilmour has. He kind of almost goes Tom Morello at one point, where he's like, it's like, dude, he just went Rage Against the Machine for a second.
Seriously.
And friggin' High Hopes, because a while that was the last Pink Floyd song recorded, and it really left you with high hopes. That's like, this is it. We're going to close the door of the Endless River. When he sings the Endless River lyric, I get chills, because I know that's next.
Yeah, see, that's crazy, man. Like, because, like, a lot of people thought Pink Floyd... I accepted the fact that Pink Floyd was over after this.
It really was a good farewell. Like, I go back to this guy, Cover Killer Nation. He talked about how High Hopes really was the good goodbye song, and that Louder Than Words kind of feels a lot like High Hopes. But yeah, it's just something about freaking High Hopes. It was a very interesting thing when I was listening to it last night, is that, because one, as a joke, I was thinking, like, dude, imagine this being, like, your funeral song. Like, that would be fucking epic. Like, this is how you put the bookmark on your life. Like, the Endless River. Like, here you go. Seriously. Put me in the casket. But then, since this music makes you think, it really brought me down to a real, like, earth thing where I'm like, oh, shit, I'm gonna die. Like, oh, my God. And then as I listened to it, and I got calmer and calmer. This song means a lot to me because it made me accept my own mortality. I know I sound like a crazy guy right now, but that's what this music does to you. It makes you think about your life and what you're doing, and you might as well live it up to the fullest because it's the only thing you got. It makes you wonder, and it makes you respect the beauty of the landscape you have. That's why a lot of these Pink Floyd music videos show clouds and shit like that.
Yeah. But, dude, when fucking Endless River was announced a couple years ago, that shit came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I was, like, freaking out, man. I was like, what? What? And
oh wait, one of the best passive cussing by Pink Floyd is in one of the songs on the Division Bell where he's like, they tell me gladly to go fuck myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, David!
Watch your mouth, David.
You cheeky young chap.
How dare you curse?
You cunt. Endless River, I was a little afraid to listen to it at first because, like I said, I got into Pink Floyd through my uncle, and he listened to it, and he comes back to me, he's like, that album sucked. So I was kind of afraid. I think he was, I don't know if he was like upset that it was almost all instrumental or something. I forgot what his problem with it was. But I'm like, really? It's bad? And then I just held it off. But then I actually went and listened to it, and I feel like there's a reason why the last song is called Louder Than Words. I feel like the last album should be all instrumental, because in the end, it was all about the music.
I can totally agree with that. Dude.
And it's a little sad that Roger Waters didn't come back just for one last...
Yeah, I was
He didn't even go to the, what's it called? The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing. I
really wished that they could have got him on board for at least one song.
Like, just one last hurrah. Stop doing your 500th iteration of The Wall and come do this.
Yeah, it would have made this album more beautiful, but it would have just been icing on the cake, because the whole album is a tribute to Richard Wright, and
also just a tribute to them in general. Like the song Autumn 68 is like a sequel to Summer 68.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is great, because like we said, they consider that one of their worst albums, which that sounds like something Waters would say.
Yeah.
So when they go back to it, they're like, we're going to reference Adam Hart Mother, that's good. Noodle Street is very jazzy, and it's very, like, noirish, which I kind of like. Like, I could sit back and read, like, a freaking Sin City novel and listen to Noodle Street, be like, hey, that's jazzy right there.
Oh, yeah, and the song, I love the song Anisina. I cannot read that.
Yeah, it's like every song on here is beautiful, and they have like something about it, and they all flow together perfectly. And when you finally get to the Louder Than Words, the singing part, it kind of like gets you by surprise because you're in such a state of calm, and it's like, we bitch and we fight. Yeah. More passive cussing.
dude, like this album, man. To me, it's the best Gilmore album, and
that's debatable for me because I think the Division Bell is like in terms of perfection, like number 3, like Animal's Dark Side, then Division Bell.
See, like I think it's for me, it's just maybe it's the fact that it's all instrumental that. To me, I like it so much more.
Like, you can't complain about the lyrics, and then when lyrics actually come into it...
And the lyrics are good. Like,
it's like, I understand, like, why you feel so weird about, like, the final cut in these Gilmore albums. It's because the controversy behind it kind of makes it, like, less enjoyable. But these lyrics to Louder Than Words actually take the controversy and give it, like, a good, like, you know, it's all over now. Yeah. Like, we bitch and we fight, but in the end, it was all about the music, so why did this all happen?
Like, dude, fucking, this album is just so touching, and just the music.
It's a very good closer, and the Endless River leaves it on, like, that high note, and I like that's a reference to High Hopes, and that's where Richard Wright is right now. I like to imagine on that album cover, that's Richard sailing on that boat.
Yeah, definitely. I can easily agree with that. Because, like, dude, the music takes you on a fucking journey, and it's weird because it's like...
And it's memories. It's all memories that's like, we started, like, to reference Drake, started from the bottom, now we're here.
Seriously.
That's like, look how far we've come.
Like, because, man, dude, like, you can look at this album, the way the songs are, you can look at it as, like, a 45-minute intro to, like, a 6-minute song. Or just...
Yeah, and it's not that long either. It's not like this big, like, high note thing. It's that we're done and we're gonna blissfully leave you off on, just feel happy. Just remember the good times.
The album just takes you on a fucking, just a relaxing fucking journey.
And then when Louder Than Words comes in, because that is the big hit of the album, when the final guitar solo comes in, I actually did, like, a fan-made music video for it. You can check it out on my channel. So, shameless plug, but when that guitar solo comes in, I put this in the music video because this is all I think of. Just all the albums flying by. Just look at how much we've changed, how much we've matured, how much we progressed, and now it's all over. And I showed like clips from like See Emily Play, all the Sid Barrett era. And if you listen to the lyrics, I don't want to call it bashing, but there kind of is subliminal Roger Waters bashing when it's like, we can curse it or nurse it and give it a name, like we can take care of this Pink Floyd sound, or stay home by the fire, failed by desire, stalking the flame. That's like, oh, that's Roger doing The Wall 700 times. That he's sticking to this. That he's just going to stay home. He's like, the wool is mine, you can't have it. True, and I feel bad for bad-mouthing Roger, because I really love the guy.
True that. Like, but that's definitely, you know... That's probably him. He probably wrote that after, because he probably, I don't know, man. Maybe
it very much, like, you see what I mean, right? It very much is like subliminal Roger Waters bashing.
Yeah, because in a way, I almost think that they wanted him to come back.
Yeah, maybe they weren't going to let that lyric go by. It's like, maybe Roger, if you come back. They did get together in 2006 for Live Aid, which was good.
Which is what kind of surprised me, was like, you know, I thought maybe their shit was squashed and maybe...
But you can kind of look on Roger Waters' face playing at Live Aid. He's like, they paid me a shit ton of money for this.
Yeah.
And that's Bob Geldof right there, which is funny because Bob Geldof, I know there's a lot of people who hate him. I've never really listened to any of his music to actually judge him. But he wasn't a big Pink Floyd fan until after they filmed the Wall movie. And he felt like during Live Aid, it's like it's his... You gotta thank him. He was the reason they got back together because he was the one who suggested it.
Yeah.
And, but here's the thing about Bob Geldof's performance in The Wall, going back to The Wall, because I have the Roger Waters The Wall documentary / like live movie, which is amazing. I wish I could have seen that in concert. But... there's a couple of scenes where Roger Waters has to act, and he's not that bad of an actor, really. That's like, why couldn't he have just played Pink?
Huh.
There's this scene where he's at a bar explaining how his father died for the 10 millionth time.
Yeah.
And he's explaining to the bartender, like, what happened at Anzio. It looks like a scene from The Shining where he's, like, talking to this, like, ghostly bartender.
Hello, Lloyd.
Yeah. But he's like lining up all the shot glasses, like this is Anzio and this is what happened, and it's a very interesting scene. And he's a good actor, so I'm like, why didn't he play Pink? Was it his pretense or something that didn't let him play Pink? He's like, I'm gonna be behind the wall.
Maybe he didn't want to shave his nipple off.
Maybe, but I feel like Bob Geldof didn't want to do that either. I heard Bob Geldof was like really like a good team player on set until they had to put him in all that pink makeup for Comfortably Numb. I think that's when he started to get pissed off.
I wonder, dude, like, because that is such a crazy shot, man, when he shaves off his fucking nipple. I'm like, dude, it looks so real, man. So fucking real. Like,
but the whole movie, like, it's a really underrated classic because you ever notice like how many like famous actors are actually, well, not famous, but how many actors you could actually notice are in it? Like Bob Hoskins is the big one.
Yeah.
And he has the best line in it where he just walks in and he's like, fuck me. You can't do this to him. He's an artist. And then the hotel manager who Bob Hoskins is yelling at during Comfortably Numb, he's the hotel manager in Ghostbusters where he's like, $10 million? Absurd. I'm not paying it.
Oh, wow.
And it's the same exact role. It came out before Ghostbusters, The Wall, but when you go on the dude's IMDb page, it's like Pink Floyd's The Wall, hotel manager, Ghostbusters, hotel manager. So I like to think it's the same character.
Yeah, that'd be great. The fucking Wall movie is in the same world as Ghostbusters.
Well, some of the creatures in the Wall movie are very much like Ghostbusters creatures. Ghostbusters versus... That would be a twist when, instead of Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, it's a giant singing anus judge.
Yeah, dude, and he's just spewing shit all over everybody. That's not...
That's why they took it out of the movie, but I love the line in the Wall where you hear in the background the people cheering. He's like, go on, Judge, shit on him!
Shit on him! Oh, shit.
But yeah... The Endless River, I think, was, like, since I went into it expecting it to suck, I was really surprised. I think it's actually a really good album.
Yeah, you know, I was kind of expecting it to suck, too, because I was like, you know, already they mentioned that they were tracks, it was just a bunch of music that they didn't use for the Division Bell, and I'm like, well, if it's a bunch of unfinished stuff that they're trying to finish, you know, how could this all play out? But from the moment I turned it on, I was fucking...
It doesn't feel like it's leftover tracks. It really feels like it is like
brand new stuff. Thing. It really feels
and the sound quality of it sounds like it's from 2014 and not 1994.
Exactly. Like that's what really blew me away was like this. It even makes you forget that Richard Wright had fucking passed away. Like
it's like he's still there.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like he's there as a ghost, man, and it's very
he's there
haunting.
In spirit.
It's very fucking haunting.
I think he'd be proud of the album.
Yeah, definitely. And like I have no fucking complaints about this album.
Yeah, it's a very good closer to the Pink Floyd thing, and you can't help but almost kind of feel like crying by the end of Louder Than Words because this is it. There's no more Pink Floyd.
Definitely. Because what's real
done.
sad, dude, is like some bands do sort of know when to quit, and they'll end their shit with something amazing, but then you got bands, especially from the prog era, like Yes, who have seriously not been good since like '78, and they still
they just don't know when to stop because this is all they have.
Dude, they've got like over 20 fucking studio albums. It seems like they just put one out like a year or two ago, and it's like
they're like the Megadeth of prog, just constant albums.
Yeah, man, and like half of them are dead, and yeah, it's pretty sad.
Yeah, like the story of like Pink Floyd is like they start off great, then they fall from grace because Sid's gone, then they have to learn to fly, and they stumble, fall, but then they come with Dark Side, and then they ride high, and then the greed gets to them, and then it's almost like a bittersweet story because in the end, it is a great career they have.
Yeah.
It's just they were an all business band, and that's what's so interesting about them is that they were so enigmatic. Like they didn't really have an ego; they were just there.
It's like it's really the ultimate like rock band story.
Yeah, because they never really like until like later in the years after the wall, they never really acted like big rock stars. They were always, and to this day, even when Roger Waters like talks and stuff like that, like yeah, you can tell he has an ego, but he's still not big like Tom Cruise millionaire person where he's like, oh yeah, I'm awesome.
Yeah, I always felt like his ego was more music and lyric based. Like the music has to be like this. Like it's more of an artist ego.
There's a good. It's almost like a teenager. Like I've written some lyrics and I've written some like I told myself I was gonna like write this novel and it was gonna like bash high school and stuff like that, but it was gonna be really witty and stuff like that. And I went back and read some of the chapters I wrote, and it was like, Jesus Christ, I was an emo cringe kid. It's like I was just like, school sucks, I don't have a girlfriend, and I'm just like, what the fuck are you trying to say, Frank? Like, what? And it reminded me of a picture of Roger Waters. It's a meme where he's hugging himself, and it's like all his thoughts. He's like, you're awesome. I know. I love me. I know. It's like you're trying to be deep and edgy, but you're just cringy.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, I can't believe I told some of my teachers, like, I'm going to get this published by the end of this summer, and then I went back and looked at it, I'm like, I'm not publishing this. Nope, not happening.
Yeah, that's how I feel when I look at a lot of the songs that I wrote back when I was a teenager. Now they weren't all like I don't really write about feelings, but
I do. I've been writing a couple songs. I feel like because when I was writing this novel, I was trying to get my gripes about high school out while also trying to tell an interesting story. But the thing is, I took that emotion and put it into songwriting, and with that, you can be a little more enigmatic about it. You can be a little more like, and you don't have to tell a story. You can just get your feelings across a different way, and you have to use different words to kind of get your point across.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was better done that way because I feel like some of the lyrics I write are pretty decent. I feel like this is where I need to put my emotion into it, where it's like when I have a good idea for a story, that's when you go and write a script or a novel. But when you have to get your emotions out, go write a song. I feel like I write songs much better when I'm feeling emotional.
Seriously, because like my early songs, I mostly write weird story songs and
comedy. I'm a victim to comedy writing. Like even though I'm trying to be serious, I find like one funny line, sort of like how Pink Floyd does it.
Yeah, because when I first started writing songs, it was all about comedy. And when I look back at some of those lyrics and shit, like there was a song about this girl who had lice in her hair, crabs in her underwear, and you know, I'm like, yeah, you were 12 when you wrote that.
Yeah. Yo, have you ever comedy bands are another thing I could talk about for hours. If you ever do like a Psycho Stick retrospective,
I so plan on that because I fucking love Psycho Stick.
Or a Ninja Sex Party fucking retrospective. You ever hear Ninja Sex Party?
No, I've never heard those dudes.
Have you ever heard the YouTube channel Game Grumps?
No.
You gotta watch that show because the lead singer to Ninja Sex Party's on it. It's two guys. They're kind of like the Tenacious D of the internet, but they're more like... The charm of it is, one, it's just a guy dressed up as a ninja playing keyboard while the other dude takes all the credit, sort of like Tenacious D.
Badass.
But the joke of like every song is that they think they're smooth, but they actually suck. They're actually really good. But the thing about it that's so good is that the singer, Danny Sexbang is his name, he actually has like a really great voice for serious music, and he decides to do comedy. And they recently did a cover album where they did like some 80s hits. They did Rush, and their final song on it was a cover of Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd, and they do it really well.
Sweet.
But yeah.
I'm going to have to check them out, definitely.
Yeah, they're one of my favorites.
What would you rate the entire Pink Floyd discography?
See, that's hard, because I don't know what... It depends on favorite or best, so it's like...
I mean, like, all of them together, from a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give that discography there?
Yeah, I tried to do that. I was, like, on my notes app with on my phone, and I'm just, like, 1 to 10, but it's hard, because there's some that are forgettable, or that I don't really remember, like Obscured by Clouds. And then there's some I want to give a lot more credit, like Piper at the Gates of Dawn. then I want that to be higher on the list, but it's not because I also love Animals and Division Bell. I think in terms of, like, best, in terms of, like, their craft being at the top of their game, like, the top three would be number 1, Animals, number 2, Darkside, and then number 3, Division Bell. But my personal favorite would be at the top, a tie between The Wall and Wish You Were Here. Then probably Division Bell. See, this is where it gets hard. Then probably Darkside, Animals, Piper, more Saucer Full of Secrets and stuff like that are more at the bottom. Ummagumma is my least favorite. Final Cut is actually high up there. I actually really do like that. I think Final Cut might be over what's it called? Momentary Lapse. But yeah, I can't really put it all into one thing because, like I said, it more depends on what kind of mood you're in.
That's definitely true.
What album that you want to do. And that's why they're so great. That every album is great in their own right. It just depends on what you want to hear.
Yeah, because I really can't. I could easily say the entire discography is like a 9.5, but I'd have to go deeper, man, because I can give Piper a 10, I can give fucking Adam Hartmother a 10, I can give fucking Saucer Full of Secrets a 10, you know, most of them are all 10s until like...
Yeah, I'd say this whole discography, even like the bad ones, just the whole story of Pink Floyd, how they literally progressed.
Because yeah,
it's a 10.
The bad ones are worth getting to. They're worth listening to as well.
Because it's like an interesting part in the storyline. That's like you have your ups and downs. It's almost like you're watching wrestling or something like that, where it's like, oh, where's this storyline going?
And to only have like, you know, 2 albums that are fairly, you know, boring in my perspective, that's fucking amazing. Out of like 15 albums, and you've got 2 that are kind of like that's
really impressive.
Yeah,
because most people lose their luster like pretty early in the game. Some people get like what's the name for like sophomore slack or something like that.
Sophomore slump.
Yeah.
Like a lot
that there are great bands out there like Pink Floyd or Metallica with probably their best album, fucking Ride the Lightning.
Yeah, I love Ride the Lightning. That's
how you know you have a great band, where you come out the bat great, and then you blow us away again with the second album.
Definitely. Like, Ride the fucking Lightning is awesome as fuck.
Yeah.
But alright, man, where can the people find you on the internet?
You can find me on my YouTube channel, the FDV Production, all lowercase all together, the FDV Production. You can go back and watch my cringy fucking reviews where I didn't know what editing software was and I just took other people's video game footage. You can watch that. I'm a modest guy, so I don't delete that. You can find me on Twitter at FDV1499. My name is probably Sir Francis of Filth, as a reference to the YouTube channel Filthy Frank. Which is not me. I just really love that YouTube channel. You can find me on Facebook, Frank Del Vecchio. And basically what I do on that channel is I pretty much do whatever my mind wants me to do. I fucking make stupid little videos. I review movies. I make short films. Just anything I can think of.
Yeah, I watched a bunch of that.
I've been planning to do more music reviews. Definitely going to try to do that. You might find this podcast on my channel since Travis is nice enough to let me post it.
Yeah, I think any collaboration, man, I think that should be on everybody's, you know, channel.
So, like, the people who watch it on your channel can come to me, and then the people who watch me, like all 40 of them, come to you.
Definitely. I mean, because, collaborations like this are supposed to help each other out, you know, so to have it on both channels, there's more exposure than just one channel. Because, I mean, we're both putting equal amount of time into this.
Yeah, and I have to say, I had a freaking blast doing this, and I hope to do this again sometime, especially with stuff like the Cranberries, because they're like up there on my favorite bands. I fucking love them. Pink Floyd has like officially like become like my number one favorite band. I try to hold on to Metallica because I fucking love them, but Pink Floyd has really just changed my life in like a positive way. I fucking love them. And to get to talk on a podcast is the coolest thing because I've always wanted to be on the podcast for years now. I've always wanted to do my own, so that's always sweet.
Awesome.
But yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, dude, and you can see our stuff on the Bloody Chuckles Studios YouTube channel. It's all mostly music videos for our bands, and music reviews, several different ones, and...
Oh yeah, another shameless plug. This isn't really an official thing, but if you go on my Facebook page, I have a Facebook page for my band. That's a hard name to pronounce. None of the members really know how to say it, so I'm just going to say Aqueous or Aqueous. That's our band name. We haven't released anything yet, but I do have a page there if you want to check that out. We're kind of like punk metal prog ska, as I like to call it, because it's just a mixture of all sounds we want to do. I've been writing songs for it. I've been meaning to get us together and record some stuff. But yeah, shameless plug.
We are post-punk industrial dance goth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are Edgy McEdgerson.
Fucking, But yeah, so check us out on our YouTube. You can check us out on Instagram under Bloody Chuckle Studios. You can find all of our videos on rtgomer.com and other cool little music reviewers, movie reviewers, all kinds of shit like that. Book reviewers. And then you can also check us out on horrorphilia.com.
Horrorphilia, shout out to my boys at the Skeleton Crew and Banana Laser.
Fuck yeah, Banana
love
Laser.
All you, Dave Z,
Matt
Alex Edwards.
Fucking Dave Z.
Matt Wazell.
Yeah. Wazell if you're nasty.
Jamie Sammons. I almost said Jenkins.
Yeah, Jamie Sammons now, man.
Fucking, yeah, and
Dan Chase. And then I gotta give a shout out to my fucking buddies at Mysterious Boom on Horrorphilia. I fucking love those guys. Hugh Green, Christy Green, Kevin, I can't pronounce your last fucking name, but I fucking love those guys too. Check out Mysterious Boom, fucking Skeleton Crew, Exploding Heads. Fuck, dude, like, that's a great ass website. Like, I'm so glad that I found
Unlistenable Assholes.
Yeah, Unlistenable Assholes, and...
They need to do another one of those.
Yeah. Shit, man. But yeah, you can find all of our shit there. This podcast will be on both of our channels, RT Gomer and Horrorphilia. And I guess that's it, dude.
Adios.
Yeah, man, y'all take it easy, dude. I'm gonna get this damn shit on the computer going and everything and send it to Jason Lloyd. Definitely
a big load here.
Yeah, it's actually, we got a good, it's almost 3 fucking hours, dude.
Yeah, dude.
This is like the longest one.
We only ran into like one technical difficulty,
but
definitely. We made it through.
Only one fucking problem.
And the division bell barely got in the way.
Yeah, sometimes I noticed that like if I rubbed the mic, it would sort of go away.
Rub the mic for good luck?
Yeah. But alright, you guys, y'all have fun.
Later.
Later.